Hello. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? Today is Tuesday, December 19th, only 5 shopping days left before Christ Mass. Prepared for such a marking of our celestial transit through outer space. Yeah?
You waiting for
You
me?
ready?
I missed it because we cut out a little bit. So I just heard you
Oh,
say
no.
shopping
Are
days.
you ready for the Christ Mass? Are you ready? 6 days away. Are you shopped up? Are you festive and full of cheer?
I guess as much as I'll ever be. Sure. How about you, Brian?
Got caught up on a couple things yesterday. It's like the older you get, the less you care. To some degree, it's like if you got any kids or family in your life, like they can, be happy. It's like, yeah, I'll do anything for the kids. It's like then you're like, I don't know, what do you get your dad who has literally everything, who has too many of everything? It's like I don't know. I'll give my presents. I don't know. We'll have dinner. I'll get you some food, or what do you get someone that has everything? So I don't know. It's okay, but the point of Christmas is not just gift giving, frankincense and myrrh and whatnot. But today we're going to provide you with the gift of today's program on the Agree to Disagree show with the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. Today's show, Blake, we're going to talk about the staffer in Congress. What type of lewd behavior shall we discuss today? Oh, you've seen the headlines. Blake, by the way, that is the most disconcerting thumbnail image that I have ever seen for a show today. That's going to be like the one picture that like shows you what today's show's about. And it says the Agree to Disagree show right on the sphincteria, the area in question. Wow, Blake. Well done. Bravo. Yeah, I mean, Blake always puts those together, and some days it's just like National French Fry Day, and it's like, oh look, there's French fries. And other days it's like, ew. Today was It says the Agree to Disagree show right on the mark. But anyway, click on it, you'll see. Also, we're going to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, talking about right on the mark there. High profile associates. Are they actually going to be released in January? We'll see. Are they going to be so heavily redacted it's just going to be a bunch of no names? Or since nothing else has worked, it's just going to be Trump? I don't know. We'll talk about it. Also, speaking of that guy, is he literally that H person? You know, the H person from 1930s. We're not supposed to say his name because they think we're morons and babies and we can't have rational conversations. But that guy from 1930s Germany, is Trump literally that guy? Because he's criticizing the influx of 15 million illegal aliens. They're not immigrants. Fighting-aged men, by the way. So keep that in mind when we're discussing who's actually coming in here. Also, speaking of that man, who should we have as his VP? I mean, it should probably just be Mike Pence again, right? I think we're all in agreement. Mike Pence is the heir apparent, right? He's the obvious choice. But then there's a couple other options like Nikki Ramaswamy Haley. What's her real name? I don't remember it. I don't like her in any way. I'm not trying to mock her. It's Nikki or something. Hang on, I gotta see.
Right.
What's that?
You're not leaving any mystery to the headlines. We already know your biases before we've even begun. But that's okay, Brian. I'm still going to agree to disagree, and people can participate no matter what. Or maybe you're just trying to throw everybody for a loop, and we're going to surprise us with some of your opinions. We shall find out.
Look, I'm super pro Mike Pence. If you've watched the show for any amount of time, you'll know if there's one thing you know about me, and there's probably not much, but if there's one thing you can take to the bank, it's that I am pro Mike Pence every chance that I get. So her name is, what do I call her, Nikki? Her name's Nimarata Nikki Randhawa Haley. This is the lady that says you need to be using your real name online, unlike our founding fathers who were going to get strung up and have their families targeted and have their businesses, careers, and livelihoods ruined as they're be jailed, imprisoned, or killed for speaking out against the crown. You know, some anonymity online, anonymity in the printing press has always been important in our country's history. But this lady who goes by a different name than she is, she wants to tell you that you must use your real name online. Nimarata Nikki Haley. Yeah. And so, no, I'm very against her in every way, and the military-industrial complex that she shills for. Thank you very much. Also, on today's program, Nimarata. I got to remember that. I call her Nicaranda. Nicaragua. I'm going to stop trying to say that name.
All right, we're going to spend a half an hour on the headlines, and we're not even going to get to the stories here.
Yes. Also, in today's news, we're going to call for, would a call for an Israeli Hamas ceasefire actually be anti-Semitic? We're also going to ask if, this got switched around, if most of Netanyahu's claims about Hamas brutalism have been fabricated. And we're going to ask about the NFL Pro Bowl. Should it be segregated? Yeah, I know. Sounds like the stupidest thing you've ever heard, right? No, it's something that one of these CTE-riddled Pittsburgh Steeler cheaters, by the way, they're running a program over there that's Bountygate 2.0. We'll talk about that in a moment. We have a former professional player calling for a segregated Pro Bowl. Yes, this is Biden/Obama's America. So we will get into all of these topics and more on today's Agree to Disagree show. Please follow Blake. He is at thenextlevelnews.com and on X at TV's Blake Walley. Follow him in those places, and then follow the Agree to Disagree show and the New American Media in all of the places, especially Spotify and Rumble. Let's get into today's first topic. Allegedly. No, radio, Blake. First topic. This was big news, and it's kind of interesting, I think. Agree or disagree here that criticizing the staffer who committed lewd conduct in the Senate room, that's homophobic. Agree or disagree?
I'm going to disagree. That's the way, of course, that he's going to spin this. He's going to have to play the victim, and it is embarrassing that he got caught. You know, I almost admire that he actually did that, but since he got busted now, it's an embarrassing scandal. So it's the risk reward. But I mean, if he would have pulled that off in his little in the circle of DC homosexuals, he would have been a legend for pulling that off. Don't you think, Brian?
I mean, he did it.
I filmed a porno in the Senate hearing room, a iconic, famous room, and they were having butt sex. He would be a hero for those people, and I kind of respect him for trying that. But that's the price. Is that you get caught and you get he's gone now. He's no longer a staffer, and his career is going to be in trouble.
I will give credit to this disgraced and now fired former staffer for creating that porno film in the what room is it? The Senate
hearing room.
Senate hearing room. I'll give credit to that former staffer for creating a porno in the Senate hearing room, because normally the only people getting effed in that room are the American people and the taxpayers. So he created a new way to F the people of this country. You know, he's like, hey, other things can get effed in this room, not just the taxpayers. But this is the debaucherous. This is the title. The Biden-Obama DC debauchery is on full display. And yes, I included Obama because the only reason Joe Biden is still quasi-relevant, I mean, I got lots of theories on this, but it's because Obama had him as the number two. And as the number two, he was running across the globe money laundering and pulling rank and getting kickbacks and starting 20 plus shell corporations. And on tape bragging about how, well, son of a bitch, they stopped the investigation because I was going to withhold a bunch of money. It's like he's bragging about quid pro quo, this for that, bribery. And this guy with the Ashley Biden diaries of inappropriate showers, God knows what else happened in that poor family. You see the Hunter Biden, who's been the bag man for his campaign the whole time, along with Jim Biden, on his laptop from hell with 51 fake intelligence agency officials telling fake stories to rig the 2020 election. I mean, you see his laptop and it's all just hookers and blow and driving 120 miles down the freeway. Like, everything about this family is debauchery. Everything about, I mean, you had the topless people on the White House lawn. That was what, a couple months ago for some prideful event or something. And everything about this administration is just over the top. But I mean, it's an Obama Biden debaucherous continuation. There is no difference. I mean, you look at what happened on the paddle boat, allegedly, where the Obama chef drowned in a couple inches of water in a koi pond. God knows what stories that needed silenced coming out of all of those dinners with the Obamas yelling, bickering at each other. Could you imagine what that chef overheard? It's just everything about this Biden White House, from the crack cocaine found in the White House to the topless people on the front lawns to that just absolutely mind-blowing Hunger Games-esque Christmas card. It's just everything is completely in the face of the American people. And this is just the latest in a long train of abuses, a long train of really astonishing acts. I don't even know how to finish that sentence. I'm almost at a loss of words, Blake.
Yeah, well, it was a very interesting scandal that broke out over the weekend, and we're finally covering it now, but it is still developing. So we have out of the Federalist here, corrupt media rushed to downplay the disgraced Democrat Senate staffer's lewd video scandal. Oh, and hello, Rick Norman. Good to have you here. All right, welcome.
Yeah, leave your comments, by the way. I did just get a message on Restream saying that now we're going to be able to see our Twitter comments pop up into our chat. So if you're on Twitter X, we should theoretically be able to see your comments in the show. So leave all your comments. We definitely encourage it. It's not too many cooks in the kitchen. It really adds extra layers to the show.
Right. So, yes. Please, it's great to have you guys get your feedback in real time. But getting back to the story, after a Senate staffer who reportedly worked for Democrat Maryland Senator Ben Cardin uploaded a video clip of himself performing lewd acts with another man in a Senate hearing room, corporate media outlets rushed to downplay the scandal. So shortly after the footage leaked from a WhatsApp chat to the Daily Caller on Friday, 24-year-old Aiden Mace Zerpovsky was fired from his position as a legislative aide in Cardin's office. But he responded to the blowback by claiming the criticism was homophobic, as if if he was, having sex with a female, then that would be okay, and nobody would, come on, Aiden, stop fooling around in there. But he says, this has been a difficult time for me. Wrote in a LinkedIn post, as I have been attacked for who I love to pursue a political agenda. Now, he should know this, but yeah, he's embarrassed, and now he's floundering, and now he's going to try to blame it as a political agenda and that people are homophobic for calling it out. So despite the existence of both the graphic film and his admission of guilt, corporate outlets are still quick to give the ex-staffer the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, it usually happens. We'll pull up another story here. This is post-millennial. Fired Democrat Senator staffer made the sex tape in iconic Senate room, has a long history of making porn. So he's just kind of getting more bold and audacious as he continues.
So does Hunter Biden. He learned it from watching Hunter Biden.
Well, I don't know if you'd say like he's his direct inspiration for Hunter. At least it was like on his laptop. I don't know if he ever uploaded it, or some people said he maybe uploaded stuff to Pornhub or something. I don't know if any of that's true, but
yeah, I heard that as well. I don't know if it's verified.
Right, but yes, he certainly did have it all on his laptop, which was supposed to be private. But this is not.
What would a good porn name for Hunter Biden be?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going off the top of my head. I could think of Cunter Biden. I don't know. Maybe that's good. Maybe it's not. Yeah, that's all I came up with. Hunter
okay.
Biden.
I'm glad that you got that off your chest, Brian. Let's. All right, but here is Aiden in the Senate room. It's the place where Sonia Sotomayor had her confirmation hearing for James Comey testified on Russian interference. And this is where Aiden got some thick German sausage and a Jaeger sauce finish.
Geez.
So the man.
Oh, that visual. Good grief.
Oh, yeah.
Who wrote that?
It's Andy No. I think he's also
Andy.
Homosexual.
Andy, no.
Fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't care. Again, I
don't want to think about a thick German sausage. That is very.
Well, that was his words, right? He was very excited about it.
My response to that is Andy, no.
Well, he had to promote it. No, I don't think Andy No said it. I think it was actually the words of Aiden. Like he was, bragging about it. He posted content of himself on social media, engaging in sexual acts inside the iconic Senate hearing room in the Capitol, and he's got a history of graphic exhibitionist behavior. So, having anal sex with a man in the Judiciary room with a Hart Senate office building. So, let's see. I want to get into some of it. I'm trying to pick and choose here, but there he is. This is his LinkedIn profile, I believe. There we go. He posted at least one nude photo of himself on all fours. It's a Time story on his now deleted Instagram account. So that's amazing that you can bold. I didn't know you could do stuff like that on Instagram.
Oh, you didn't know that meta platforms are the worst with inappropriate and abusive material? Facebook and Instagram, they're at the top of the CP world. Oh, they are complicit. Why do you think Zuckerberg's building a impenetrable fortress in the mountain range of Hawaii? Because everybody knows what he did in 2020 to fortify the election with the drop boxes and the dirty money. Everybody knows what they've been running on Meta, on Facebook, on Instagram. Everybody knows he's running because it's all being exposed piece by piece, drip by drip. He's running. Oh, Blake, yes. IG and Meta, Facebook. Oh, they are the worst offenders. It's so much trash. You couldn't even believe it. I've gone down this rabbit hole and it is astonishing. No wonder he's running.
Okay. No, it's interesting. And I know there's some like nude models and stuff that put stuff on Instagram, but they never show anything. And then they're like, oh, come to my OnlyFans or whatever for the real stuff. I didn't know they could actually post some of this, but who knows? I mean, if it's in private circles, then I guess they can. So he's certainly, doing the promotion. He certainly is an exhibitionist.
By the way, one more point. When, I heard it mentioned, I don't know if it was a direct Elon Musk quote or if it was an explanation of a summarization of essentially what Elon was saying. So I don't know who to attribute it to. But the comment about a year ago, we just passed that roughly 1 year delta for when Elon Musk purchased X, Twitter. And the comment was he didn't buy a social media site. He bought a crime scene. The stuff that was being sent on all those personal messages, I mean, some of the most pornographic, CP, illegal, debaucherous stuff you could imagine. And by the way, when Elon bought it, he has all the blackmail on all these people now. They thought they were safe with their direct messages. So, as you see the European Union, this could have easily been a story in the stack today. But the European Union, somebody over there is now suing X because they're failing to target and downrank misinformation on their platform. So he's being sued, and the platform is being sued in Europe right now. It just happened a couple days ago because he's not going along with the plans. Well, they're trying to shut him down because he has all the blackmail on them now, and he shut down their CP network. He bought a crime scene. It was so rampant on that site, and now they've all when Elon came into X, they all went to Mastodon, all the degenerates. So the degenerates are living on Mastodon, but they also went over to Meta on Instagram and Facebook for sure. Anyway, just wanted to wrap that up because it's relevant, tied into our next story with a potential release coming out in a couple weeks. But please continue, sir. Oh, there he is with the robot himself, skin suit with the what's his face? Joseph Q. Biden, Joseph R. Biden.
34% approval rating. Yes.
There's no way 34% of people like that guy. That is at least twice as high. Because you've got to be high to support this guy.
Perhaps
17% would be too high.
I agree, but yes, they're too embarrassed to admit it.
Oh, look at them staring into each other's eyes. Oh, that is sweet.
Yeah, he's just this nice young staffer from Berkeley and trying to make a name for himself in DC, and he certainly did. Maybe not in the way he intended. But he says, well, some of my actions in the past have shown poor judgment. I love my job and would never disrespect my workplace, he wrote. Any attempt, right?
Except for that thing I just did.
Except for that mess you made in that room. Yes, exactly.
Oh.
But any attempts to characterize my actions otherwise are fabricated, and I will be exploring what legal options are available to me in these matters. So on Reddit,
here are the legal options available, Blake. You can slink away in disgrace, and you just chalk it up to, I was living the dream. I was having a little bit of fun. I got a little reckless. It caught up to me. I don't get a second chance here, and it sucks. Because that's it. There's nothing else to say. You were pretty like that doesn't fly during business. Try it during business hours, and if you can't do it during business hours, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. That's it.
Right. No, you shouldn't have been doing it. But yes, I do respect him for having the balls to try it. So he's got a history of graphic exhibitionist behavior. He's on Reddit. His account named Bareback Twink Slut, likely belonging to him, posted a photo.
I'm sorry. What? That's his name?
Allegedly on Reddit, there's an account named Bareback Twink Slut. That's likely belonging to him. It's in fetish gear on a bed with wax on him. I guess the words "twink slave" is written on his body. The title of the post is "Used by My Daddies." Man, these gay dudes seem to have all the fun. They get to go on Grindr, do all kinds of crazy hookups, have all kinds of weird little encounters. All the fun, good for them. But this is looks pretty weird now. So he didn't want all this stuff exposed. Like, everything. The dam broke, and they dug up all of this stuff now. So yes, he's all on fours. He's got my cream-filled Twinkie.
Oh God!
I know this is what it posted. You like that? We should have used that one for the thumbnail today, perhaps.
What, a cream-filled Twinkie?
Right. Yeah, I could put a picture of a Twinkie right in there, right?
Oh my God! Why are we showing this? Okay,
it's on there. That's it. But it's just to show what he's. Yes, he's a little too over the top.
This is the Biden-Obama White House.
It certainly is. Oh, this is totally the Obama White House, and yes, and of course Joe Biden, the extension, and just the freak show that they have in there. So he's an aspiring crazy cat lady, and he's admittedly big gay. So there's
all right, here we go. Here's where it's time for Brian to play devil's advocate.
Oh, he's waiting for Lindsey Graham in the work showers. I thought Lindsey Graham
sorry, is that's what he posted?
Yeah, waiting for Lindsey Graham in the work showers.
So that's no secret in DC.
Oh yeah. Well, I doubt it. Yeah, he's the one of the most obvious. Yeah, in the closet. Yeah, we
And
all
did you
know,
hear?
and I'm sure there's a whole underground group of homosexual men that get together and hook up. They've got their own little. They have all the fun over there. I mean, good for
Did you
them.
hear
But yes, it's embarrassing when they get caught.
Did you hear the Lindsey Graham comment from this weekend saying that there's no evidence of Hunter Biden of Biden corruption and blackmail and bribes? Did you hear Lindsey Graham a couple days ago say that?
No,
There's
but
no
I
evidence.
believe it. Of course, yeah. He's always going to protect the deep state.
He's got to be the most blackmailed person there this side of Bill Clinton. Absolutely. Yeah, Rick says he can't find a single Biden supporter, not a single one. And he's a bachelor that's uptown a lot. He gets out and talks to people. What town is that? What city are you in? Yeah, it's
dox them, but yeah, it's going to depend on where you're at. Because I spent like a majority of a summer in Austin in 2020, and it was predominantly Biden signs, and I could not believe it.
Yeah,
it's
but
so strange.
That those signs should have just said anti-Trump vote, right? I mean, at that point, it was just he's not Trump. They could have said he's not Trump. Vote for that side. So anyway, back to the devil's advocate. If he's an aspiring cat lady, I can empathize with cat ladies. All right, I've adopted several. I've fostered out several. I've done trap neuter return on over 100. So I can empathize there. Now, regarding the debauchery, I let me just say that I may or may not in my lifetime have participated in certain acts in certain places that may not have been, let's just say, private or traditional. So I can empathize a little bit, but I mean, in the Senate hearing room, that's a little much. Oh, he's all over Southeast Ohio. So that would be like Athens, right? Yeah, Athens, Marietta, Chillicothe. Yeah, I'm familiar with the area. Yeah, Athens gets down. Go to the Greenery. Are they still a thing? Go there for Halloween. It's crazy. Talk about debauchery. But anyway, yeah. So I'm. You were a Vegas bartender. What's that drink? Something about a beach.
Sex on the beach.
There you go. And then may or may not in college. Anyway, I won't tell the full story, but I can empathize with just maybe going for it in a non-traditional place. But I guess, filming it and then uploading it and having that place be in the Senate hearing room, I mean, that's kind of next level stupid. It's not just like you're in a spot, you're caught up in a moment and having a good time. Really, the whole performative aspect is just double barrel middle fingers at the American people. It's just like, look what we can get away with. Look at us. You obviously filmed it for a reason. You're showing people for a reason. It's screaming, look at us. So, there's no recourse for this dude. This dude, let's see. Where do you think he lands next, Blake? MSNBC? CNN?
I don't know about that politically. I'm sure he's going to have plenty of opportunity as a filmmaker, and I'm sure he's got a big network of gay dudes that he could all kinds of opportunities, but maybe not in DC, at least not for a while until this whole thing blows over.
I got one.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a name for this guy's porn name.
Okay.
Instead of Joe Biden, Whole Ryden.
Sure.
Whole Ryden.
Whole Ryden. All righty.
Is that okay? That's all right?
It could work. I don't know. Yeah. Good enough.
Okay. Anyway.
There you go. The Democrats, the adults are back in charge. They were so happy to get rid of Trump, but then look at the freak show they've rolled out over the last few years, and this is just another one of these highlights.
Do you have a graphic or an X post of the Christmas rollout with the Hunger Games style? Yeah, because they came out with like Merry Christmas, and it's
I know. Yeah, I don't have it, but not up front.
Like something straight out of Hunger Games, Blake. Wild stuff.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, a lot of this administration is. Yes, absolutely. Christmas Biden. Let's see if I can quickly find it. But
Yes,
okay,
Blake will look for it. By the way, follow Blake. He's at TV's Blake Walley on X.
Oh, we got. This is the contrast of the classy. Okay.
We got double click. Oh, okay. Can you full screen this? I can't. There we go.
It's only a small clip.
Yeah, if you could full screen it, just so we can see the.
Just the contrast between the Bidens and the Trumps.
Hunger Games. Hunger Games.
Yeah, there you go. It's a freak show.
And by the way, these are dudes, right?
I couldn't tell you. You never know. You can never assume anyone's gender anymore.
I thought that's what I thought they said that when they released this. They were super proud of it. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. Who knows?
Oh,
but I mean, this is like a fever dream. It's like it's like if you're going in for a root canal and they give you the gas mask and you start having little hallucinations and you kind of zone out into like this world. It's like you're in a Willy Wonka fever dream of like, wow, I ate some bad salmon, didn't I? You know, you don't take, what was it at Woodstock? Don't take the brown acid or the purple acid. Like there was a certain color you weren't supposed to take because people were having bad trips. It's like a bad trip. None of this screams Christmas. Okay, maybe that Nutcracker, but wow, a little too on the nose with Nutcracking. Hey, that's a good porn name. The Nutcracker.
Want to spend a week there? No.
That would be a good name for that.
Biden White House.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rick is chiming in, by the way. He says also, Pelosi said that the right has no cause or reason to impeach Biden. SMFH. Yeah, no crap. Just absolutely bonkers. Okay. Anything else to add on this story, Blake? It's the Obama-Biden White House on full display.
It's this whole community. It seems like it is. There's a lot of it's a lot of troubling actors.
Ooh, what's this story?
It's another one. It's a prominent transgender activist Kendall Stevens in Philadelphia arrested after raping 2 minors.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, I guess she's well known in the area, taken into custody, 37, urging for more inclusive hate crime legislation within the city, faces serious allegations involving 2 young boys under the age of 13. The same woman who survived a brutal hate crime, pleaded guilty in the wake of her own experience with violence. She's become a voice for LGBTQ rights. Yeah, some of these people, they seem like they are mentally ill and they are disturbed, and it's unfortunate. So
let me give you
anybody for being gay or whatever, but that's pretty sick stuff.
Yeah, but let me shred a little bit of good news for a bad situation here. You're talking about abuse cases. This is something that came up in Florida. Let me share this with you. So Florida is getting a lot of stuff right. Whoever's helping little Ronnie D put his it's good stuff. Candidate. I will never vote. Can't click over. Okay, it's finally giving me the screen here. But this is some good news coming out of Florida. Now, like I said, this is on the heels of awfuls, but here's the latest. Florida man has been indicted on charges of SA a child, but he is now facing the D penalty. See, they have us talking like kindergartners. I'm so sick of this stuff. Just Facebook and YouTube want flag content because I'm discussing a story in the news about a monster who sexually abused a child. Now he's facing the death penalty. I'm not going to sit here and talk like I'm spelling things out around the DOGGIES so they don't know we're discussing TREATS. It's like I am not a kindergarten teacher. This is so stupid. Anyway, there's a new law in there. Down in Joseph Andrew Giampa was indicted on sexual battery charges. State Attorney William Gladson has said his decision reflects the gravity of the charges. Let me just give you the date here. Florida man has been indicted on charges of abusing a child, and he's the ultimate penalty. What could be the first case of its kind under a new law that expanded capital punishment? Bravo. The Fifth Judicial Circuit State Attorney's Office announced on Thursday that Joseph Andrew Giampa has been indicted on 6 counts of battery upon a child under the age of 12 and 3 counts of promoting performance by a child. State Attorney William Gladstone said his office will seek the death penalty for the alleged crime because of the severity of the crime and its impact on the community. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled in 1977 that the death penalty could not be applied to rape cases because it violated the 8th Amendment's ban on cruel and unusual punishment. What a terrible ruling! One of the worst rulings of all time. If there's one thing that deserves capital punishment, it's stealing the chastity, stealing the purity.
So is this related to the other stories? Is this LGBTQ or something? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you brought up abuse of kids, and I'm just saying, at least in a state like Florida here, now this guy is now being charged with the death penalty for abusing a child. So while you see things going off the rails where it's like there's so much abuse going on, at least in Florida, they're moving to execute these people, as they should. They have video of this man abusing a young boy. It's just the worst. But at least in Florida, they're trying to use the pencil when things get out of hand. So, I guess we're in a time of extremes, Blake. It seems like everything and anything goes, from sex in the Senate hearing room floor and Hunger Games style Christmas cards and all sorts of community abuses. And then you also see states fighting back and say, no, we've had enough. Do you think that's something we'll see in more states moving forward?
I would assume so. I'm sure there's going to be some demand, but it's going to depend on the governor and the state government. But yeah, as long as people are calling for it. So why don't we segue that immediately into the other topic here?
That's a good call. Let's go ahead and do that as I pull up the stinger. Here we go. Here we go. Perfect segue, Blake. Agree or disagree that Jeffrey Epstein's high-profile associates should stay anonymous? And it looks like we're lagging a little bit.
There we go. Yes, there was a lot of chop there. But yeah, I think I got you. No, I'm going to disagree strongly. I'm looking forward to Suicide Weekend when it finally happens. Hopefully, it might be in the next couple of weeks. If it does, it's about time. They've held on to this for way too long, and hopefully this will come true finally. So let's pull up. I got a couple of stories on this one. This is fresh off the wire. Judge ordering over 100 of child predator Jeffrey Epstein's high-profile associates to be revealed in the next 2 weeks. Several names linked to Epstein are emerging. Will Bill Clinton and Bill Gates be mentioned? So I guess the Gateway Pundit's legal counsel has provided them with the statement on Monday's development in the Epstein case. So I guess this was yesterday. Judge Loretta Preska of the federal court for the Southern District of New York issued an order unsealing a large number of documents related to 187 John Does. So 187 anonymous people, probably powerful, prominent. That's usually what Epstein targeted, to blackmail powerful people. And the identity of the Does, all individuals who are somehow related to this case, with Jeffrey, the one of the victims from Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein. So it's been kept under seal by the courts for years. For the past 3 years, various litigants, including the Gateway Pundit and other press, have fought hard to unseal the documents. They're widely anticipated to shed some light on individuals spending time with Epstein and perhaps traveling to his infamous island. Well, it seems like the public will now finally be able to see at least a portion of the records. The public may yet be set for another frustration. Judge Preska froze her order from becoming effective for 2 weeks to permit lawyers for the anonymous does to file objections to the unsealing of the records. And I'm sure we can agree that they will, all 187, I'm sure, will file some sort of objection because it could be a suicide weekend. Their lives are going to be destroyed, and they know it. And they'll do anything it takes to prevent themselves from being exposed. So, I don't know how to get too excited. I'll get, really excited when they actually, oh my God, here's the list. It's finally available, and we can take a look and start asking these John Does the questions. So what else do I have? I think it's another one out of the Daily Mail, just kind of speculating, showing some pictures. We shall see. Some are saying, yeah, well, some prominent names. We can throw those out there. We do have some idea of a few, but until then, we don't know. I guess also, Alan Dershowitz has been named a number of times. Don't know. He's, of course, denied it. But, well, yes, it's time for justice to happen. And, Brian, they might bring back the death penalty for some of these people once people find out the depth of the crimes. So, what do you think, Brian? Or should they to prevent chaos?
Well, who was the judge? It was a Southern District of New York judge, you said?
Yeah.
So who is that person? Is that a Obama judge?
I don't know.
Trump judge?
Don't know. Judge Loretta Preska.
It sounds like an Obama judge.
Could have been before Obama. We don't know. Could be.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if I was just guessing, I was curious at first. Then if I got to guess, I got a couple thoughts. I mean, they've held on to it for several years when Epstein obviously didn't kill himself. But that happened under Trump's watch. Let's be fair. That happened under Trump's watch. It's almost like they're slow walking it because these people are current blackmailed assets. You got the prince and the people in the royal family. You have tech industry people like Bill Gates, allegedly. You have former U.S. president like Bill Clinton, allegedly. You have all sorts of people who are still able to be pulled in a direction because they're blackmailed, because they're bribed, because they have some goods on them. This is why I've said a long time now, we need to have a nationwide, a worldwide apology project. We need more people who are getting close to the end to tell the world what happened, what they were involved with, and spill the beans. You're going to an eternal resting place. We all are. And wouldn't it be great to get some of this stuff off of your chest and do some good on your way out the door? We need a global apology project. You might not ever be able to undo the evil and the damage that you've caused, but you can at least to some degree make some sort of amends. But on another note, you've seen in the past year the really astonishing rise of artificial intelligence. AI is everywhere now, to the point where, aside from having 6 fingers in a lot of these videos, which they obviously have gotten, they've cleared that up within about 2 weeks. The speed that this stuff is advancing at, although some people say it might have plateaued. I think Gates might have said, or Tim Cook said that. But I wonder if they were slow walking it to get AI out there long enough so that when the videos do come out, they can claim, oh, that's not me. That's just my head superimposed on somebody. Look, that's an AI generated thing. So, I mean, what would you say, Blake, if you saw a video in 2 weeks of Bill Clinton? Would you believe it?
I guess that all depends. Maybe because I want to believe it, but I know that he's been over to that island at least 26 times, so he would seem to be very obviously guilty of something going on over there.
And
it wouldn't take much evidence for me to be convinced on it. But
no, it wouldn't take much evidence. So if you saw video and pictures of Bill Gates, would you believe it? Be inclined to believe that?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely would with Bill Gates. He knew that he knew about Epstein before he went down there and hung out with him.
And if you saw video and pictures of RFK Jr., would you be inclined to believe that?
I could, yeah, it's possible. I will, I won't condemn anybody, but I will, yeah, I have to see a little bit of proof. Not that I want to see the actual, videos and stuff, but we could probably tell by their actions how they respond. We saw Prince Andrew and his disingenuous response, and so it is clear that he was making stuff up, and his story didn't check out very well. So we'll see how people react, and you can kind of tell by their words and their body language if they actually were involved or not. But yeah, they can only take the AI thing so far. So this list existed for a while, and I'm sure they've got pretty good videos, especially for it's been around a long time. So I don't know if they can.
And if you saw video and photograph of Trump, would you be inclined to believe that?
I mean, anybody. I'm not going to put anybody like above. Like, there's nobody like, oh, they would never, ever, ever do that. Some of the people that you'd think wouldn't do it would actually do it. So I've been fooled before. There are some, people out there. Yeah, sometimes they make mistakes. Sometimes they get pulled into these things, and it's a honey trap. And maybe they didn't know. Maybe they were drunk. Maybe they were on drugs. I don't know. I'm willing to, to listen and see if there's a possibility that they have some reason or some excuse. But it's going to be hard to wiggle out of some of that stuff. So some of them absolutely knew what they were getting involved in, and they're going to have to pay a price for that.
Yeah, I was once invited somewhere that I did not attend, and there were and my understanding of what could have been there or was there was something that I would have probably not wanted to be around, and it wouldn't have been the reason I went there, but I would have been around it. I would have been affiliated. I wasn't, but I could have been. But yeah, it wasn't what it was. It wasn't that on the surface, but I guess that's what it was, or at least that's part of what it was. So yeah, I mean, this is a honey pot, a honey hole. It's a trap. It's a spider's nest. Some people end up figuring out what's going on, and like Trump, he kicked him out of his Mar-a-Lago. He can't stand the guy. Like he bought a property out of spite just to keep Epstein from getting it. He once he figured out who he was, he couldn't stand him. He kicked him out of his club. Other people like Clinton allegedly went down there several dozen more times. It's like, oh, I'm a big fan of what he's got going down there. Okay, all right. I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I got to work on my Clinton. I haven't done a Clinton impression in a while. But yeah, when you're talking north of 20 times, there's no mistaking what you're showing up for. But yeah, I mean, it's an intelligence operation, so you can get blackmail on people. Then you got them under your thumb. Now you have an asset. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they definitely slow walked this for God. How many years now, Blake?
Yeah.
2-3 years. Story's been out there. I mean, good Lord. So who knows how much they've cleaned it, laundered it, changed it. I don't know. 3 years. It wouldn't take long for a Hollywood film to go through and do some editing if one of their stars died in the middle of production. A couple of weeks in post-production, you can change some faces. You can edit all sorts of things around. In 3 years, what could you do? Kind of everything. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see how it's released and how much we buy it, and we'll obviously cover it on the Agree to Disagree show when that happens. Okay, anything else on this topic, sir?
We'll find out in a couple weeks. Oh, right. Here we go.
Yes, we shall. All right. Then we will move away from Epstein and switch gears for a moment back to Mr. President Trump.
Oh.
Yep, there we are.
Audio cut out? Okay.
Allegedly. Allegedly, Dreamer. What's up, Dreamer? Dreamer says, at this point, I just assume we'll never know the truth about it. We may hear more lies, though. Yes.
But all those people are going to, talk to their lawyers, and they're going to try to prevent their names from being smeared. So, and I wouldn't have expected anything different. So I'll just keep motioning it and moving it and delaying it. But yeah, it's moving. I guess that's the positive note.
Yes. All right. Well, okay. Speaking of moving, we have millions of people who are not going through proper channels. A proper channel means if you want to go see a movie, you go online and you buy your ticket and you show up and you scan your phone, or you show up at the box office, you hand them some money or a credit card, you buy 2 tickets, then you take your tickets and you show them to the person, they rip them in half and you go see your movie. Or if you go to Disneyland, you do the same thing. You get a season pass, you get a 1 day, or you go show up in person, you pay, you go through the front door, you show them your pass and you walk inside. Or you could hop the fence in the back or have somebody prop the door open and sneak in. And America has seen millions of people sneaking in under the Biden-Obama watch. And I keep saying Biden-Obama because Obama, remember he was talking about famously about wanting to have a civilian force comparable to that of the United States military. You remember when he used to say that, Blake? It was such an odd comment, an odd quote. And you just wonder, as you see all these military-age fighting men come through, and then you see here Dick Durbin saying that we need to let illegal alien invaders become our military. We need to train them and hand them weapons. And you go, my God, is this really what is set up now? An illegal army has invaded, and Dick Durbin is going to arm them for the Obama plot to take over this country. My God, this is crazy. So when people call this out, they're called the H word. So Blake, agree or disagree that Trump is Hitler? He's literally Hitler for criticizing an influx of 15 million illegal aliens.
No. I mean, there is some extra context to that, and it's a comparison, which I will get into, but it's just, more of these audacious claims coming out of MSNBC, of course. So proving once again that it is the mouthpiece of the Biden administration, MSNBC aired a segment repeating verbatim the claim that Donald Trump is the Führer because he criticized the importation of close to 15 million illegal immigrants under Biden. So I thought it was 6 or 7 million, but maybe that's just the official numbers that they're admitting it. I'm sure they are not giving us the full accurate count. And during a speech in New Hampshire earlier in the week, Trump says he thinks that the real number is 15 or 16 million. We can let him speak for himself. Here we go.
A lot of work to do. When I think the real number is 15, 16 million people into our country. When they do that, we got a lot of work to do. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about, but all over the world. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over the world. They're pouring into our country. Nobody's even looking at them. They just come in. The crime is going to be tremendous. The terrorism is going to be, and then we built a tremendous piece of the wall, and then we're going to build more.
Okay, so
Biden campaign. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm jumping over top of you. I just wanted to add this to wrap this up. This is from an MSNBC article. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want that clip. But this is from NBC News years ago, and this was the direct quote from Obama that I mentioned in the lead-in. He said, quote, "We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set," Obama said in July. "We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well-funded." And this comes on the heels of Dick Durbin calling on arming illegal alien invaders and letting them into the United States military. So just for context, I wanted to kind of unpack what I meant by referencing that. As you see tens of millions of military age fighting men storming across our border in a way that, if your back door got broken in, you'd be concerned. If they snuck in through the gates at Disney, you'd be concerned, and you should be concerned if they're sneaking into your country. So anyway, the floor is back to you, sir.
Okay. Well, after the Trump speech, the Biden campaign immediately released a statement claiming that Donald Trump channeled his role models as he parroted Adolf, praised Kim Jong-un, and quoted Vladimir Putin while running for president on a promise to rule as a dictator and threaten American democracy. That is a big stretch there. He said he'd be dictator for, the first day just to get a few things done, like Biden did when he signed like 50 executive orders, which was like a dictator, but they're not going to mention that. So the statement continued. Trump is not shying away from his plan to lock up millions of people into detention camps and continues to lie that about the time when Joe Biden obliterated him by over 7 million votes 3 years ago.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So it's
Trump was ahead by hundreds of thousands in all those states that magically paused. All right. Yeah, sell me some swampland. Sell me a bridge in New York. Get out of here.
Right. So,
by the way, for countervailing views, go to cisa.gov/rumor control because they think it was the most fair election in the history of America.
Of course. So let's watch the hacks, flacks, and lackeys from MSNBC about parroting the Fuhrer.
Us on this hours, Douglas, after making these remarks, the former president doubled down and wrote a post saying this: illegal immigration is poisoning the blood of our nation. As I mentioned, President Biden and the White House are comparing this to the words of Adolf Hitler, and specifically the words that were written in Mein Kampf. And I want to read for folks the comparison that we see within Mein Kampf so they understand the gravity of this situation. The poison which has invaded the national body, especially the strong influx of foreign blood. That is from Mein Kampf. As a historian does.
Yeah, so it's interesting that they were able to pull up that coincidence, but I think it's a very awful connection to make that extra leap there to suggest that. And they, never mention anything that's a problem. They're not like, disputing the fact that there's 15 million illegals, or even saying that, maybe 6 or 7's a problem, or that we don't know who these people are, and there's continue to come over in record numbers. That's not a problem. But then the fact that he made a statement that sounded similar to something in Mein Kampf, now all of a sudden he's being compared to the Fuhrer.
Well, I mean, in that same breath, he's talking about that they're unloading mental institutions, they're unloading prisons. Like he says, they're not bringing their best. Okay, I mean, it's a little bit of a clunky terminology. It's like, well, they're not all like that. I know a great woman who's from Guatemala. We all do. We all know some great people. But there's also the problem that's coming through with the good people, which is why you screen it through the front door in the first damn place. We all know an awesome dude that's come up from Costa Rica, a great family from Venezuela. We all know somebody who's super cool, who works, who's not getting in any trouble. We know these people, but that doesn't mean that the other thing isn't also true. That really bad people, the lowest of the low, dangerous, psychotic, do-nothings, are taking advantage. That is not even up for dispute, Blake. That's obviously a part of it.
Yeah, I know. It's just illegal. Huh? Right. We want welcome people in here that are good, hardworking people that want to be American, and that's a great immigration policy. But to just have people dumped out of prisons or mental institutions, or people claiming to be refugees or what have you, that are not going to really contribute much, but just trying to escape and get free benefits. That's different. That is poisoning our country. And who knows? We don't. They could be military age. They could be used against us someday. I don't know. We don't know where their loyalties are, but they are getting free stuff, and they have incentives to come here, even if it's illegally. And so it's become a problem. And yes, there's more stuff going on the border. Here's giant crowds from Bill Milligan.
Can you full screen that?
Eagle Pass. It's probably not very good video, but it's just showing you more of the just thousands of people that are. I can't really. It's not. It's not good video anyway. This is all I'm going to be able to get. So, yeah, there it is. There's Eagles Pass, Texas, and there's just wave after wave.
Take a live look at our Fox News drone over in Eagle Pass. They have had another mass illegal crossing out there. You can see hundreds upon hundreds of illegal immigrants waiting for processing there. You might be able to see a bridge off in the background. That is where the trains come in.
Yeah, I got trains of them coming in. Here's the bridge there. It's amazing. And they're not going to get sent back.
Far is what it is.
Right. But yeah, if you criticize that, you're a bad American. So there you go.
Yeah. We're in deep trouble, dude. I was recently watching a sporting event, and all of the power went out, all the TVs went out, and I went, "Oh, was that the last meal I'm gonna have? Is this when the invasion starts? Is this it?" I legitimately had that thought. Is this the beginning? The EMP attack. President Trump, he quoted this before when he ran his 2016 campaign, and he also recently quoted it. I heard it said, but I'll just read what he says. Quoting it as recently as September 2023. It's a song called "The Snake." And so make up your own mind about its intentions. The lyrics in full are, "On her way to work one morning, down the path alongside the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor half-freak. His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Oh, well, she cried, I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the snake. She wrapped him up all cozy in a curvature of silk, and then laid him by the fireside, some honey and some milk. Now she'd hurried home from work that night. As soon as she'd arrived, she found that pretty snake had been revived. "Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the snake. Now she clutched him to her bosom. "You're so beautiful," she cried. "But if I hadn't brought you in by now, you might have surely died." Now she stroked his pretty skin, and then she kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying thanks, that snake gave her a vicious bite. "Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the snake. "I saved you," cried the woman, "and you've bit me, even. Why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die." "Oh, shut up, silly woman," said the reptile with a grin. "You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. Take me in, O tender woman. Take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman," sighed the snake. And Trump says this all the time. I mean, there's a lot of that classic 1980s, 1990s terminology. We haven't really used it in the zeitgeist of today's modern times, but the bleeding heart liberal, you've heard that, right?
Right.
The bleeding heart liberal, like, who doesn't want to kind of root for the underdog? Like, the Cleveland Browns in the NFL, never even been to a Super Bowl, helped invent the league. But like the underdog, the traditional underdog, or someone downtrodden, down on their luck. Like who doesn't want to, give somebody a chance? But you have no idea the number of known terrorists, known gang members, known criminals, known murderers, known rapists. None of those people should be coming in. Not a single one. So, "Oh, tender woman, let me in." How about not by the hair of my chinny chin chin? Go stand in line and show your papers, please. I don't want to have my head detached from my body from my knees. Sorry, I just came up with that. It was almost okay. But like, one single murderer, one single rapist let in this country is too many. So you have to check everyone. And anything short of that is dereliction of duty. And I am really angry at Congress for, I appreciate what they're doing, finally moving to get rid of Biden. And it seems like they've asked him to step aside, Obama and the political elites, and he's not going to step aside. So they're going to take Hunter Biden out, and they may eventually take Joe Biden out and bring somebody else in because there's no way he can win. But I really wish that the Congress would have just went after Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Kamala is the border czar. You impeach Harris, you impeach Biden for dereliction of duty at our border, especially our southern border, and treason. Like all of the Biden bribery, that's fine. But we know right from what they're doing at the border and not doing at the border, they should be impeached for dereliction of duty and their treasonous crimes right there. So, one single snake coming through amongst any number of awesome people has poisoned Americans. Yes. But, they try to take it and, see, everybody. The lying legacy media will not stop with their Hitler comparisons. It's so tired. It's so lame, Blake. It's the worst.
I hear you.
What was that one that you had the comment up about a song by a Trump song and John B. Wells? I'm curious. Yeah, I keep meaning I need to reach out to John. I want to get him back on the show. It's been far too long. I just wanted to kind of build up our list of shows there. Rick says, Blake and Brian, have you guys heard the Trump song he recorded with a couple country stars? It's hilarious. John B. Wells played it on Caravan to Midnight. The Caravan to Midnight. No, I haven't heard it, but I would love to hear it. If you have it, send it to us on X. Blake is at TV's Blake Walley, and we are at American_media_. So, yes, I would love to check it out. Okay, speaking of Trump, Blake, let's bounce to the next topic, shall we?
Okay.
Stay on Trump. Stay on Trump. Stay on Trump. Okay, there we go. Trying to. Allegedly. Maybe. All right. Donald Trump is far and away the front runner for the GOP president, the presidential candidate. And I would like to ask this question. Agree or disagree, Blake? Nikki Haley, not Vivek Ramaswamy, should be Donald Trump's running mate. Agree or disagree?
Disagree. Yes, it seems on the surface, pair him with a woman. She's the Hillary Clinton of the Republicans. But no, she's very bad news. And as people have pointed out, if you did bring somebody like Nikki Haley, who's most likely a deep state type of asset, they will probably knock off Trump so that she can take over. So that would happen real quick.
Well, let's be fair though. I mean, you had a deep state guy in Mike Pence, and
I didn't want him. Yeah, I guess they decided to. Right? How'd that work out?
Well,
yeah, that's the problem. That Trump took a lot of really terrible people, and he was just surrounded by traitors and from within. So that ended up working against him. So, but maybe it helped him get elected with the Christian conservatives. Mike Pence, I don't know. I didn't like it, but it happened, and it unraveled, and it seemed like he could have done more on to help him. And on January 6th, he did not, for whatever reasons. And so he should not be allowed back. In fact, stabbed Trump in the back and ran against him. And now it's time for him to pick another VP. I just don't know who it is. People have suggested it could be Tucker, but Tucker has said that he doesn't want it. But you definitely don't want Nikki Haley.
Has Tucker said that recently? Because he said that in the past. Oh, he said it very recently.
In fact, he said he said he would vote against Trump if he picked Nikki Haley as the VP. So he will not vote for Trump in the general election if he chose Nikki Haley as his running mate. Yes, he was on Roseanne Barr's podcast. First expressed his support for Trump on Roseanne's podcast. Claimed to always agreed with Trump's policies, but admitted that he only became an active Trump supporter when they raided Mar-a-Lago. Because that was one of the things. It was like, I guess Tucker secretly doesn't really like Trump that much. But they went over the top with the raid, and they've realized Trump is the guy.
And that's a good point.
President, that America needs. So I guess he was on Timcast at the latest Turning Point USA's America Fest 2023. This was just over the weekend. And so Tim Pool asked him, would you vote for Trump if he chose Nikki? And Tucker said, I would not only not vote for the ticket, I would advocate against it as strongly as I could. So that
is how repulsive Nikki Haley is to people who are paying attention.
Yeah, saying it would be poison to his campaign.
Okay, well, that's him saying that he would actively campaign against Trump if he picked Haley. But is that him saying that he would not take the VP position if called upon to do so?
No, he said he wouldn't be very good at it. Wouldn't be something he'd want to do. He says,
well, if it's something he wouldn't want to do, that's one thing. But if you're asked by President Trump, like, "Hey, Tucker, I need you. I think you got the brain for this. I think you could handle it." I mean, would you be able to turn down the call? Especially with an 80-year-old guy, you could be one breath away from being. Now, maybe you wouldn't want.
I don't think that's going to happen, right? I don't think it's going to be in a position where he's going to love Tucker so much that Tucker, you're my guy. I don't know. I think he wants.
Who's he going to say it to? Who does he love?
Well, we don't know. Tucker's just been a name floated out there, but not from Trump, not to my knowledge. I would think it'd be better off with, a Rand Paul, somebody who's, has an experience in DC, or you take a Vivek, an outsider, or, Carrie Lake, who's has some, could be an interesting for a female, powerful. So
you also have a wild card, Tulsi Gabbard.
We'll see, maybe.
She switched from the Democrat side over to the libertarian/conservative side. It's a wild card choice. Yeah, I don't know. I wish he wouldn't take so long to make that choice. I don't know if there's a strategic advantage to waiting.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I don't think anybody's announced anybody their VPs. So no, it's not part of the process yet. It's not even 2024 yet. So they usually wait a while for that. So I don't think there's any rush or no pressure yet. So people can speculate. It's always fun to discuss. But I like Vivek. Would be great, or Carrie Lake. I think those are great. Or if you want to stick Rand Paul. So anyway, probably won't be Tucker, and definitely won't be Nikki Haley or Ronnie D.
Ronnie D. Oh, that guy shoot himself in the foot. Good grief.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish they would make the choice soon. But he's on his own timeline, I suppose. But it would be nice to know who's on the bench, like who the starting rotation is for the MAGA squad. We're not interested in the GOP squad. The GOP, I mean,
we haven't even got the conventions yet. That's not going to happen for 6 months, probably. How early do they usually call VPs? Unless you're an incumbent.
I don't know. Good
no,
question.
They got to wait for a lot of process to play out first before they go announcing that.
And we got to see what happens on the Democrat side, because I think there's a 99% chance that Joe Biden will not be the nominee. We'll see how it plays out, but I think it's a 99% certainty. No way is it going to be him. So we'll find out. Will it be Gavin Newsom, or will it be Kamala Harris, or Hillary Clinton, or the Obama spouse?
Deb from Sacramento. Yes. Hello, Deb.
Yes, Deb is not a Nikki fan either. Hey, guys. Howdy. Okay. Well, we will keep our eyes and ears peeled on that. Yeah, Vivek he's saying a lot of the right things. Do you fully trust him? That's a conversation we can have, but he's saying a lot of right things. Yes, Rick says, right, Brian, the mod. Yep. Did I say MAGA squad? I guess I did, didn't I? But it's going to be the MAGA team. And I do have a little bit of concern that this lawfare against Trump, that the GOP, that the Republicans may try to use some dirty tricks and say, well, look, he was convicted of something. He defrauded a bank that didn't get defrauded. He claimed an election was rigged, like every losing president has since I've been alive, but he did it in a weirder way, a more illegal way. So we should go to jail. I feel like the Republicans still could throw a curveball, a knuckleball, and try to say we can't have him as our nominee. So I hope Donald Trump is registered in all 50 states under the MAGA party in case the GOP does something dirty, because then he would win in a landslide. He'd win his 45, 50%. You'd have 20, 30% go to Biden. You'd have 20, 30% go to Haley or DeSantis. Then Trump wins that three-way race easy. I guess RFK could maybe take 5 or 10%, but that's just my caution to President Trump. Please register on your own MAGA party. And then, of course, stay with the GOP if they're going to stay loyal. But you've got every reason to believe, with Haley turning on you, with little Ronnie D turning on you, that something's rotten in Denmark. So just be ready for that. Okay. A couple other stories. Anything else to add on this one,
Nope,
Blake?
we can move. Yeah, let's go. We only got 20 minutes.
Go. Yeah, it's really slow on the captions and the stingers today. Trying to get this rolling. All right, we're gonna play a game on this stinger. Everybody, if you're watching, tell us the sign that you see. Is this rust or bullet holes? Do you see any bullet holes, or is it just rust on the sign of this stinger? Here we go.
Well, from a distance, it looks like bullet holes, but I do not believe that they are. I'm sure they're just holes in the rust. Yeah.
But if you've ever been out into those desolate areas, everything has bullet holes in it. That's kind of the thing. Anywhere desolate, everything has bullet holes in it. People take target practice. Okay, so we will save the football story for the final one, so we don't get run out the clock on our 3 minutes hate of the nonstop, never-ending war in the Middle East. It's Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. 2 countries enter, no country, two men enter, 1 man leaves. They have both vowed that they are both saying that they're just going to eliminate the other side. Like, that's all there is to it. Hamas, the 3 no's, like there is no recognition. On the other side, Bibi and his representatives are like, nope, we're not ceasefire. Nope, they're done. They're getting erased. So genocide. Oh, yep. They have decided this. So Blake, agree or disagree that calling for an Israeli and Hamas ceasefire is actually anti-Semitic?
No, I disagree. It seems like everything is twisted as somehow anti-Semitic. If you're not just completely 100% behind Israel and everything they do, it's somehow twisted as anti-Semitic. So it's just another one of these things. And yes, it is a huge issue that's affecting the entire planet. I think this is way bigger than the Russia-Ukraine thing.
Russia-Ukraine's done. It's not being funded anymore. Like, it's over.
Yeah, it's kind of being let go for now. So, but this is now taken front and center.
And Blake, you're right. It's very interesting, the timing, as the GOP and the Republicans in the Congress were saying no more money, not another dollar to Ukraine. And then all of a sudden this pops up in Israel, so that there could be a fresh new front to fund money through, so that the military-industrial complex can drink its blood. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Right. Yeah, it's right on cue. It was so immediate. You just couldn't script it any tighter than that.
Blake, does that mean that you're a supporter of Q? Is that what we should read between the lines there? Was that just a drop? Right on Q? Is that what you're saying?
No, it had nothing to do with it. I don't know if I was like, did they predict something like that? Because I don't remember anything like that. And I don't even know if they're making posts anymore.
No, that was a wordplay on CUE to Q.
Yeah,
that's kind of funny. I know. Okay.
Yeah. But I guess Newsweek, they're calling for saying that the calling for a ceasefire is anti-Semitic now. So this is, and it's a call for Jewish genocide, of course, according to a Newsweek opinion writer, Hen Mazig. He's a Zionist LGBTQ activist and former IDF commander. On Sunday, attempted to reframe calls to end the Israel-Gaza war as deeply anti-Semitic and demands for Jews to embrace their own genocide. So, interesting twist there when dozens of protesters halted traffic on the major LA highway this week. It was the latest in a string of major public calls for a ceasefire. A demonstration, led by a notorious anti-Israel group during an
what are they called?
They're called If Not Now. They followed a vote for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas from 153 countries. Of course, the U.S. voted against. U.S. and Israel and and a few others that were kind of oddballs, and then some just kind of abstained. They didn't want to get involved in it. But during an emergency special sessions of the United Nations General Assembly, but this guy is an Israeli Jew who helped Palestinian civilians during his service. He would love nothing more than for our two peoples to live side by side in peace, and that innocent Palestinians deserve every freedom and to realize their national aspirations. But the only thing standing between us is Hamas. The terrorist organization is to... His whole purpose is basically to eliminate Israel and kill Jews. So for that reason alone, calls for ceasefire are neither a commitment to human rights nor an effort to preserve life. Instead, they are a demand that Jews not defend themselves from genocide. That's a bit of a twist. So,
wait, you think that's a twist? Like they're going in, like they want them all gone? That's not a twist. That's obvious.
Do you think that if they called a ceasefire and just did nothing for a couple of weeks, that they would just be attacked? That you think that Hamas would be able to run any kind of significant counteroffensive against Israel?
Yeah, I think it's 100% obvious that Hamas wants a complete annihilation of everybody in.
I'm not disputing that the fact that Hamas may want to wipe out Jews, but I mean, could they 100%, actually want a counteroffensive?
River to the sea, gone. Intifada now. That's a armed uprising. It's a bloody, like what you saw, 1,500 people getting butchered. Yeah, I mean that's what they want. They want them all gone. Shake the
hundreds of right. Okay, right. I
so there are calls for Israeli genocide right now, and they see it as self-defense to wipe them out before they get wiped out. After they were just sitting there and got blown apart, 1,500 people dead. So yeah, I mean the calls to kill all the Israelis, they're real. I don't think it's quite a stretch at all. It's just a matter of how you interpret it. I would take it very seriously if someone came in and killed 1,500 people in my city, because it's a small place. Israel's a very small place, and they butchered 1,500.
Okay, well, I don't know if even Haaretz, even Israeli media has walked that down. I'm not saying that whether it's 300 or 1,500. It's not 1,500. A lot of those people were actually killed by friendly fire. And they've even had to reluctantly admit that. But it doesn't take away from anything that, the Hamas militants did, let's just say, kill at least half of that, probably. Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, it's to me, it's not a stretch. Like they want them erased off the face of the map. Easy.
So you're saying there should not be a ceasefire because you think that Hamas is able to run a counteroffensive?
Nah, it's not my battle to fight. I understand where they're coming from, though. They're sick of the shit. They're sick of getting attacked. That's I can understand it. Like I don't think it's a stretch to say that they're under attack.
Sick of it. Yeah, well, they're sick of being occupied and treated like third class citizens in an open air prison in an apartheid state. So they don't like it. So yeah, you got two sides that are probably never going to come together and live in peace. That's probably done. But do you think that time to pick a side and Blake, could run a counteroffensive? Do you think that they could run a counteroffensive?
Yeah,
I don't know if they
especially
could.
With Iran funding it, of course. So I guess if you're picking a side, you pick one side. I'd probably pick the other.
No, I'm not picking a side. I'm just saying.
No, I said if you have to, because you're going to have to.
Well, do you think a ceasefire is actually anti-Semitic? I've said no. I'm not. Yeah. So.
No, I think all of these goofy claims of everything being anti-Semitic, it's so overblown. It's just the boy who cried racism. When you say everything's racist, nothing is.
Right.
These blanket statements to just, oh, you're a Nazi. Oh, you're a Trump supporter. Then you're a Nazi. Okay. When everything's racist, nothing is racist. When everything's anti-Semitic, nothing is anti-Semitic. When everything's Hitler, nobody's Hitler. There's like 20 buzzwords that are just so boring. No, I think it's probably a bad strategical decision for Israel to stop. They're all in. They're done. They're just bulldozing the whole place. It's bad, but they've made their choice. They've made their decision. They're done with it, and it's time to pick a side. So you would probably pick, Blake. I'll leave it to your own words. You got to pick one. There's no ceasefire. There's no peace. There's no two states. It's been universally rejected 11 times, 9 different times over 30, 40 years. They don't want the 3 no's. They will never accept them there. So I guess you would pick. You got to pick one. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Israel. You would pick.
If one group had to stay there?
Yeah, that's where we're at. Like, and that's where they are at. That's not a decision you and I have made. That's nothing we're advocating.
I don't think there's going to be a way to do a two-state solution. Not anymore. No,
yeah,
it's all over. It's been
so
75 years of just awful, violence and people not getting along. And yes.
And you blame a lot of that not getting along because Israel's there in the first place. So you would like to see them gone. If you had to pick a side.
There was a chance for some kind of a peace. I'm not saying
there's no peace. But like, if you had to pick a side, then you kind of
if one side, I've said that before. If one side had to go, it would make more sense for Israel, the Israelis, to come to the United States because they're a modern westernized society, and it would just fill the gap there with over in the Middle East. They wouldn't be there. We wouldn't have to have the United States to protect anybody anymore. That seems like it would make the most sense if there was going to be some kind of a lasting peace in the region.
And I guess I just philosophically, aside from, I don't know, Jew, Arab, Israel, Gaza, Israel, Palestine, Israel, Hamas, I don't even know that I identify as
Israel
Christian.
still have the same problem with Iran and the other Lebanon and Syria. Would they still have the issues over there with any of those other countries if they all moved to the United States?
Yeah, there'd be chaos. I think Israel's an easy scapegoat. There's plenty of problems there that have nothing to do with them, and it's just such an easy, lame scapegoat. But that aside, I just kind of understand where they're coming from. Like I've said before on these shows, you didn't create Israel in 1948. I didn't sign off on that. It wasn't my idea. I didn't advocate for that. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying we didn't do it. But possession being 9/10 of the law, they're already there. Leave it be. And things were left alone under the Abraham Accords because Trump was like, hey,
stop it. Yeah, Brian.
No, stop. Trump went in there and strong-armed them and said, look, we're going to give you both something that you want, and we're going to threaten you with something you don't want. Come to some agreement here and be cool. Can you be cool? Say you'll be cool, honey bunny. I'll be cool. What's the Fonz like? The Fonz is
cool for, Brian. A few years. Come on, you act like the Abraham Accords. Oh my God, it was the greatest thing, and there was just generations of peace and prosperity. Israelis, Palestinians living side by side, working together in harmony. That's not true. It was a few years where it wasn't much going on. Fine, but I mean, you're making it sound like it was the most.
I'm making it sound like that was a strategy when you had an adult in the room. When Obama's puppet Biden took over in 2020, everything turned to shit from Ukraine to Israel. Everything everywhere. There's no adult in the room. And Taiwan has got to be pissing their pants over there, worried that they're going to be next on the global stage. Just keep your eyes peeled for Taiwan, because China's been circling them and waiting for the right weakness, the right opportunity to take them too. But I just say Israel currently exists there. Get over it. Because by that rationale, it's like, well, if you go back 2,000 years, if you go back 200 years, well, if you go back 20,000 years, it's like, I don't want the United States devolving into, someone else used to be in the state that you live. Someone else needs to come in. It's like, just stop. Everybody's got their space. Just stay where you are. It's musical chairs. Everybody sat down. You got a chair. Don't knock somebody else out of theirs. Don't go take somebody else's chair. And certainly don't go punching or stabbing your neighbor. And Hamas won't stop stabbing their neighbors, so screw them. It's really just that simple.
Oh my God, what do you expect them to do, Brian? Like, so if they just did nothing for a long time, like Israel's gonna just all of a sudden reward them? I mean, give me a break.
Reward what?
Reward what? The Palestinians for what? Like, oh, you've been such peaceful. You've been so amazingly nice that we're gonna give you all this new land and build you new houses or something. I mean, come on. It's an apartheid state. No one would want to live there. It's not fun.
But why is it not fun? Why are they not focused on building their country instead of attacking their neighbers?
They're not allowed to build their country, Brian. They're not allowed to bring in any equipment in there. It's always like some war thing. No, that's why they call it an open-air prison. So stuff gets blown up. They're not able to rebuild it because, Israel, the IDF is just going to say, oh, you're going to use that for building weapons or something. You're going to build a barracks with that. No, you're not allowed to rebuild. So it's not. They're pretty heavy-handed. So they make it sound like Israel's so good to them, and they just don't understand. Why would the Palestinians? Why would they possibly fight back or fire off a few rockets or be angry?
It's a blood feud forever. It's the death. They have sworn to the death. They will never stop fighting them, and that's their choice. That's what they chose.
You see it very one-sided.
Never recognize them.
You refuse to empathize at all
gone.
with Palestine. I know you refuse to. To empathize at all with the people over there, which is kind of disingenuous to me. But whatever. So all I'm saying is going back to this article, and it's just kind of the weird language.
I mean, who broke the peace, Blake? Why are you going to call me disingenuous? Because those assholes broke the peace and started a war, and now they're running and crying, "Help me, help me!" Well, hey, assholes, you just started a war with your neighbor.
Sometimes, Brian, you don't think sometimes Israel was the instigator? Ever? I'm not saying it was on 10/7, but I'm just saying historically, you don't think that they've
once again you're doing this dance. Well, historically, part of Mexico was New Mexico, so everybody needs to get out of Albuquerque, and we're going to have
Brian, because you only see it one-sided. You would blindly defend Israel all the time, like it's never their fault for anything. Have they ever done anything wrong?
Did they start the war, Blake? No.
See, you're going to do this. Have they ever instigated?
That's not the question. Who broke the peace and who's getting what they deserve? Who broke the fucking peace?
On 10/7, as far as I can tell, yes, it was Hamas that did it. Whether it was
now they're
design or not,
they're getting beat up on the playground. Shocking.
Right.
They kind of deserve it for butchering all those people.
But for many years, it was like, oh, okay, they fired a few rockets, nobody got hurt, and then Israel just blew up a bunch of shit and killed hundreds of people.
They're only
you never said anything about that. That's always okay with you.
They're only shooting weaponry in my town. All right. Second part of this story, Blake. Most of Netanyahu's claims about Hamas.
Can I fucking finish this? Jesus. I'm just saying, when they say river to the sea is a call for genocide, hate speech is not free speech. Calls for peace are calls for genocide, but conducting an ethnic cleansing campaign is not genocide. So it's just this weird double standard. But calls for turning Gaza into Auschwitz and Dresden are somehow calls for peace. So if you have to completely redefine the meaning of words to make your actions seem reasonable, odds are overwhelming that you're full of shit. And I would probably agree with that. And so here's just part of that article. Israel should make Gaza resemble Auschwitz, according to Israeli town leader. Proposed sending all Gazans to refugee camps in Lebanon and flattening the whole strip so it becomes an empty museum like Auschwitz, which is pretty harsh stuff. So, and yes, there are issues over there, and I don't have it, just a problem with, Israeli. I think it's a lot of it just this administration. It's these extremists with this Lewd party and Bibi Netanyahu who are problems, and the people over there don't like him. He's highly corrupt, and he just never seems to leave. And yes, he doesn't have any. He doesn't have, like, even as Trump said, we played it last week. He has no intention of making a deal.
No, there's no deal. Like they both sides. Have
before 10/7, Brian. That was before 10/7, right? No, Netanyahu is not interested in a deal. He hates them, and he wants them wiped out. So, and they know that. So it sucks. And so you got to admit, just maybe at least 10% of the time, Brian, if you could just make that deal for me, if you could just say, hey, you know what, maybe 10% of the time, Israel is in the wrong. No. It's weird.
What am I supposed to say to that? That's not weird. You're like trying to, like, I'm tired of the gotcha shit. Like, you're always with the gotcha.
Intellectually honest. No, it's intellectually honest. Because, like, here's something I thought of. If you're like a Fox News personality, if you're a conservative, you can't go on, the air and say, like, hey, it's awful what the Palestinians did and blah, blah, blah. But, I think Israel was kind of wrong to go they pushed a little too far with some of their stuff. Their careers would be over. They can never admit that Israel has ever done anything wrong. And it's weird. And it sucks that it has to be like that. And people can't just be objectively, intellectually honest and say, yes, it's both sides to some extent. Yes, we could say that these the Hamas, they're animals, they're horrible terrorists. Yes, but also, Israel is pushed too far in certain occasions, committed war crimes, and what they've done is heavy-handed, and that's bad. And that sometimes they instigate these issues, and it's not just always the Palestinians who are causing problems.
And look, if you have a smoking gun that says Bibi Netanyahu killed his own people like an inside job, that's okay. Let's discuss that. I haven't seen that proof yet. If that's something that happened, then
right.
What is that? Oh,
I thought the volume was down, but apparently it was not. But this is just showing the march. This is a protest in Tel Aviv marching towards military headquarters, demanding Netanyahu make an immediate deal with Hamas.
Well, that's funny because what I pulled up here, like this is what I keep mentioning. I just want to give you an extra context to explain it.
Yeah.
The 1967 Arab League Summit. It was held on August 29th
back to 1967, Brian. Right.
I'm in the middle of speaking, Blake.
Okay.
The 1967 Arab League Summit was held on August 29th in Khartoum as the fourth Arab League Summit in the aftermath of the Arab defeat by Israel in the Six-Day War. It's famous for its Khartoum resolution, known as the Three No's. Blake, this is who their neighbors are, and tell me how much they're supposed to be willing to work with these people. It is the Three No's. No peace with Israel, no recognition of Israel, and no negotiations with Israel. There is no negotiating with their neighbors. And if you don't care for each other, fine. Go sit in the other ends of the room and leave each other alone, Johnny and Billy. Stop fighting each other at recess. Sit in your corner and leave each other alone. Well, they are leaving each other alone until 2 months ago, one side butchered however many people you think is an appropriate number for what happened 2 months ago. They don't want any peace, no negotiations, and no recognition of their right to exist. So, I mean, spare me. They should make a resolution. They should try to work on a resolution. They need to have they need to work together. There is no working together.
I said that already.
Peace under Trump was awesome, and these idiots started a war.
The 2 years of Abraham Accords was the fucking golden age in the Middle East. Give me a break, dude.
Wasn't it?
1967.
I think it was.
Right.
I think it was.
Okay, Brian. Give me a break. I mean, if it was generations, no.
No, it was hell on earth when they weren't fighting each other, Blake.
Years, Brian. Yeah, after the they lost
fighting
the Civil War, and they kicked them out. What, 800,000 people that were displaced out of their homes? Yeah, and they're supposed to. Let's make a deal with the people that just butchered our families and kicked 800,000 of us and shoved us into the ghettos. Yeah, let's make a deal because our neighbors are so awesome. No, I can empathize at least with them to some extent too. So I've got to say, at least Israel has probably been in the wrong. Let's just say 20, in my opinion, at least 20% of the time. But that's 20% more than any neocon is ever willing to admit.
And because they were in the wrong at least 20% of the time, they need to get out of there. They can't have a state.
They need to get out of there. I didn't say they needed to get out of there. So if they can't get along and one group has to be there, God damn it, Brian! Stop! You're twisting this. No, I'm not. I didn't say they had to get out of there. I'm just saying
I'm saying that there is going to be no resolution.
I understand that. So what should we do, Brian? Should we take all the Palestinians and what are we going to do? Are they going to bring them to this country, or are we going to just put them on trains and bring them to camps and have them exterminated? What do you want?
No, it's not my choice. Those two sides are making their choice. I'm just saying, if you got to pick a side, I mean, you've picked one. It seems like I'm picking the other. It just is what it is. It sucks. But as we run out of time here, Blake,
can you admit that maybe Israel,
oh my God, I'm not answering this stupid question again.
Brian, come on.
Have they ever done anything wrong?
Give me 10%. Can you say that Israel has been aggressive and has wronged the Palestinian people? Can you say that of the entire 70-some years of that conflict? Can you say that Israel perhaps was inappropriate and wrong 10% of the time?
Such a bullshit question.
Why?
You talk to me like I'm a
How about
kindergarten.
1%? Can you give me 1%?
Every country has been wrong.
Why do you got to dodge the question?
Did you just hear my answer? Every country has been wrong. At 100% of countries have done stupid, awful things. 100% of countries.
Even the United States.
Except for Palestine and certain people's
No,
eyes.
I'm not. I just said
I think certain people, not you. Certain people, they're perfect. Every problem is because of those people.
You're just being now you're like straight up lying. And I just said that Palestine. So let's just say Israel is right 80% of the time.
And because of that, they need to go.
90% even. But
because of that, they need to leave.
Wiggle room that they've done some atrocities. Sure.
All right, so most of Netanyahu's
come on, Brian. Come on,
Hamas
tell me,
brutalism
Brian. How often? Just can you? How about 5%?
Like that is the
Israel
dumbest
wrong
fucking question, and I've told you
5%
this over and over.
You dodged the
I'm
question.
tired of being talked to like a kindergarten.
I'm answering the question. You're
it's
not.
the dumbest question. How do you even quantify? How would anybody know how many decisions have been made and how many of them are wrong?
Because you can never admit that Israel
It's an
ever does
unanswerable
any wrong.
question.
It's always the Palestinians' fault. Always. I don't know. One of us
Holy fuck.
I know.
I just told you what you needed to hear. And it's still not good enough for you.
Okay, well, can you say Israel's wrong 5% of the time? All right, fine. You know what? We'll move on. I only got 5 minutes here, but let's just show a couple of things that are pretty disturbing. So yes, we do have the flash protest. We do have the Pope condemning Israel assassinating Christian mother and daughter in a Gaza church. Yes, they've blown up hospitals and churches, and schools. It's pretty disturbing. He's condemning the terrorism from Israel. We've got another one. Biden finally admitting Israel is losing support as a result of its indiscriminate bombing. So most of the world wants a ceasefire, except for the United States and Israel, of course.
And so what's going to happen, perhaps, is that Israel's going to push too hard because they've had enough of the crap. And then the world is going to have enough of Israel's crap, and then they're going to nuke them.
Yeah.
This is only going to end one way. It's awful. There's no
offer. Okay, here we go. Let's keep going. Right, I've only got 5 minutes, so let me finish up a couple of things, and then you can say whatever you want in defense of.
I wanted to get to the football story. That's way more interesting than
arguing
about this.
That's a minor thing from some fucking psychopath. It's the bullshit story, and you can talk about it.
It's so much more interesting than, oh my God, there's turmoil in the Middle East.
Because this is awkward for you because you've always got to defend these indefensible things that are happening. So here we go. Here's another one. War crime. Nearly 50% of the bombs dropped by Israel on Gaza were unguided. They're just area effect weapons. They're not military targets. They're just indiscriminately blowing up a lot of innocent people. Was it over 20,000 people at least? I don't know how many, 6,000 kids? But the last caption that I had on there was about Israel's claims about October 7th shows that claims about Hamas brutalism are fabrications. So this is some pretty disturbing stuff.
So nobody died that day. So
whoa, stop. You know, I'm not believing that. So I'm just saying
Well, what the hell does that headline even say? Good Lord. There wasn't a brutal attack. Oh, there was fabricated. No, I'm not.
No, that's not saying the attack was fabricated. It's saying the Hamas brutalism are fabrications, according to the actual.
I think butchering a human is brutal, dude.
Okay,
I don't want to. Oh my God, there weren't 20 babies. There weren't 40 babies.
Brian, there were. How many babies? Right, Brian. Can you at least admit that was a hoax? 40 beheaded babies was a hoax.
I never pushed it. How the hell do I know?
Well, how come 2 months later and you still can't say you think that's BS or not? Have they shown any proof of that? Have they shown any proof? Do you believe that there were 40 beheaded babies?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I've seen over 1,000 people butchered. What difference do 40 babies make? None. To you, it's the world.
Netanyahu was the one who said it.
Babies didn't
happen. The fact that Bibi Netanyahu at the highest levels was saying that there were 40 beheaded babies.
War propaganda. Yes.
It's war propaganda. Thank you. Okay. Well, that's it. Okay. It's war propaganda.
Every side pushes war propaganda in a war. War is hell. War sucks.
I understand that. But
but you lap up every pro-Palestine story possible.
It's not. No,
100%.
What pro-Palestine story? I'm saying that what Israel was saying about the war turned out to be bullshit. There were not 40 beheaded babies. There were not babies burned in ovens. It turns out most of those gruesome tales were just that. They were tales. There was a story circulating. A young Israeli woman was pregnant and had her stomach cut open and had her babies removed by Hamas militants. It was fake. There was a story about Hamas bound children together and burned them alive, forced a pregnant hostage to give birth. There was one baby that died in Israel that they could actually find on October 7th, compared to 6,000 babies that Israel has murdered in its retaliation in Gaza. So there's stuff. Yes, Israel is lying. And they were saying it's had 20 mutilated, executed, and burned bodies of children piled up. That story turned out to be BS. There is so many things that were turned out to be fake. 40 beheaded babies, babies in ovens, pregnant women, children bound together and burned, pregnant hostage giving birth. And here we go. Let's listen to Bibi Netanyahu in his own words. Here we go, talking to Joe Biden here.
They took dozens of children, bound them up, burned them, and executed them.
Totally bullshit. This is what he's saying to get United States involved in the war and to get U.S. support for his basically, yes, the ethnic cleansing genocide. So why would he have to go make this stuff up?
So what?
It's bad enough you get attacked.
What proof is necessary for you to believe any of these stories? You'd have to see the video and the photos yourself that haven't
blur them out.
Produced.
Show me the babies. Yes. There's got to be 40 beheaded. If you're going to make a bold ass claim like that, because if they did show the 40 beheaded babies, then I would go, oh my God, yeah, let's get on. I'll support Bibi. Let's go find these Hamas animals, terrorists, and let's get the whole world on this. And
but why do you care about the 1,000 people that
were
butchered? Why are 40 babies that didn't exist more important than the 1,000 that were killed, 1,500 that were killed, whatever number you're okay with? Why in the grand scheme of things?
Why are they making? If it's bad enough that they just got attacked, Brian, if it's bad enough that they just got attacked, these people came over and butchered all these people at a festival, that's one thing. And they can just stick with that story. Why do they have to make up all this bullshit about babies in oven, this horrible atrocity propaganda? Now that makes me not believe anything you say. Now I don't want to have anything to do with it. It's like, who's worse? The fucking Hamas animals or these this pig fucking Netanyahu who's making up atrocity porn to try to get us involved into his conflict? That's worse to me. There's no reason
I
to
don't
go
think lying, putting out war propaganda is worse than actually butchering 1,000 people at a concert. Peaceful, non-military targets. No way, dude. No way. That's worse.
Well, yeah, because
exaggerating claims and lying about a story is worse than butchering over 1,000 people, peaceful people at a music festival.
No, Brian, it's because that's used.
You said it's worse.
Yes, because now they're blowing people up, and that's the justification for it.
The 1,000 people is the justification.
The almost 20,000 people dead, 50,000 people murdered, and most of them are civilians, not Hamas militants. So yes, the fact that he'll go out and lie to people to get us to support him. That's fucking
You think
awful.
He needs to lie to get support?
Yes, he did.
The United States nonstop writes them checks.
Right.
He has half the politics, 90%. What percent are in the bag for whatever they want?
Well,
the influence is staggering.
I still don't believe Netanyahu because he doesn't want an investigation. No, he doesn't want a ceasefire because if they actually investigate and find out what really happened, they're probably going to find out that they let their guard down intentionally, allowed these people. They had the intelligence to know that the attack was coming, and they didn't warn anybody at the festival. To me, they allowed those people to die so that they could go, so that Bibi could stay in power, make a big power grab, and then go after and genocide all of these Palestinians. Yes, so there we go.
That is quite an accusation. I mean, you got to show.
That is not a bold. That is not.
Have that.
No,
you don't need proof to make that bold claim. That sweeping.
Yeah, that's why I want an investigation. They don't want the investigation. He's stalling that and continuing to stay on the accelerator and wipe out Gaza. Because they don't want the investigation and to realize what actually happened. How could they possibly have that big of an intelligence failure? And how could they let all those people down for 9 hours? So yes, I absolutely think he's front and center, and he's absolutely capable and willing to do that.
There's also failures in intelligence. It just because something happened and wasn't stopped, it's not proof that they were behind it. Like a lot of these, well, you never saw a picture of beheaded babies, so therefore they never happened. We don't know that they didn't happen.
Oh,
we know that
then why didn't they show us? Why didn't they show us? Even blurred out. Why wouldn't you
would want to see the most gruesome thing imaginable?
I don't want to see it, but they
why wouldn't that be broadcast everywhere? because it's pretty gross. That's one good reason.
Yeah.
One good potentiality.
Right. So do you think that's okay for him to lie to us?
That's possible.
It's possible.
That's why it hasn't been
because
released.
they would have showed it already. Somebody would have seen it.
Probably, maybe.
No, definitely. Because you could say that you can send that to the international community. I don't have to look at it myself. I don't want to look at dead babies.
That's the only way you would believe it.
Well, if enough credible people were actually saw, that actually happened. These awful butchers came over, killed these babies, and they did. That would be that would get the whole world on your cause. But there wasn't any, so he made it up. Because he thinks he's so fucking arrogant that he knows that we're just going to go along and believe him.
You think it's indisputable that he made it up? I'm saying it's on the likely side.
There is zero proof to show that. Yeah, if you're going to make
that doesn't mean you're 100% right in proving that it didn't happen. There's a difference.
No,
there's a difference.
There is no proof, Brian. So you think that
doesn't mean you're 100%.
Why wouldn't they show it?
Right,
why wouldn't
but that doesn't prove that you're 100% right. That
Bullshit.
Doesn't prove that you're 100% right saying that it's 100% false. Just because you haven't seen something doesn't mean it's not there. It could mean it's likely not to be there.
All right, Brian,
but you have no idea that that's with 100% certainty.
But then they would have showed something by now. And they
probably.
So likely. It is. So it's
not
0%.
100% certain.
Yes, 0% until they can show proof. His word doesn't mean shit. It's atrocity porn and propaganda. That's what it is. And he made it up, or else show the fucking proof. So he's a monster. Fuck Netanyahu. I hope Israel gets some good leadership in there. They deserve it. And I hope they can find a way to reconcile the situation, call the ceasefire, do the investigation, and then hopefully those people can finally live in peace. So I don't know. Not holding my breath. So there you go, Brian. I sent you the other story in the DM. I got to go. I'm already running late.
I will tell Dreamer about it because he's been asking about it. We'll get to it right now. Follow Blake. He's at TV's Blake Walley on X and The Next Level News. Yeah, I wish we didn't have to cover this every single time we did a show. I really wish there was a way that we didn't have to get into this every single show. There's drama in the Middle East. Wow. Stop the press. Never heard this one before. Okay, here's a story that I would have rather spent a lot more time on than what were we even arguing about there for 30 minutes? What even was that? What major updates did we just get? It's a war, and terrible stuff happens in a war, which is why you should kind of strive for peace. But Hamas doesn't want that. Oh, but they're getting punched back now. Oh, that second person always gets penalized. Well, in football, the second person does. Okay, here's this football story I wanted to get to. Former NFL player gets lit up and reminded of his greatest professional failure after making racist comment about white people in football. Then he tries playing the victim. So there he is. There's the ball, not in his hand. Former NFL running back Rashard Mendenhall set the sports world ablaze Monday with a racist remark on X bashing white people involved in football. While the corporate media ignored Mendenhall's comments, social media lit up the former player and brought back his most painful moment as a professional in the process. Mendenhall, who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Arizona Cardinals, was triggered over white players analyzing football on television. Oh, how dare they? And he decided to weigh in. He said they should shut up because they are not even good at football. Okay. Mendenhall next called for replacing the Pro Bowl with the black versus white bowl. Wow. Wow, racist much. Assuming the blacks would dominate. He then said he was better than the whites' GOAT. Tom Brady and the NFL's current best running back Christian McCaffrey from the 49ers, who is white, were unavailable for comment. Here you go. Mendenhall says, I'm sick of average white. Wow. Not even good at football. Huh. Can we please replace the Pro Bowl with an all-black versus all-white bowl so these cats can stop trying to teach me who's good at football? I'm better than your GOAT. Oh, that's hilarious. Not surprisingly, Mendenhall got lit up on social media for his disgusting comment. Many took time to remind Mendenhall of his greatest professional failure, fumbling away the 2011 Super Bowl against the Green Bay Packers. To add insult to injury, the player who caused the fumble was Packers legend Clay Matthews, who happens to be, wait for it, oh, white guy. Mendenhall refuses to acknowledge to this day that he threw away the Steelers' 7th Super Bowl. Here are some of the most brutal posts. Siraj Hashmi says, what side is drafting Osama bin Laden? Wow, okay. King McFrost says, they'll do that when you acknowledge the fact that you cost Pittsburgh a championship. Slangman says, when the only reason people know your name is because you're the guy who fumbled in the Super Bowl, you've become a miserable racist POS. Clandestine says, LOL, you're just salty because you got lit up by a blonde at the Super Bowl. We always knew you were a soft candy-ass little boy, but didn't know you were racist, too.
Check plus.
Here, let's watch.
Spill it, kick it.
He's calling
Spill
up.
it. Spill it.
Spill it. Here we go. Oh, pops the ball out. Look at that. Rashard Mendenhall.
Clay called the play out before they ran it. Clay said,
yeah, he knew.
Spill it hard, spill it hard.
Look at that.
He called it out where it came, so we knew what play was coming.
He's not good at football, huh?
And then I just happened to get my hand in there, and me and Clay hit him at the same time.
They hit him at the same time.
It's really film work and preparation. I had a good feeling that.
That's a bad football player who's studied and playing.
My DN to spill it for me, wrapped around the outside minutes. We got the ball back.
They had our big guys in, and I know Ryan Pickett did a great job of getting some penetration. Clay was
AJ Hawk,
on that, and I think Desmond Bishop did a great job of picking the ball.
Look at that. Okay, Rashard Mendenhall. Somebody's salty. Footy Chancellor says you fumbled this post like a Super Bowl carry. Rella says, did you check with your daddy to make sure it was okay to tweet this? Who's your daddy? Clay Matthews, your daddy. Sage or whoever says you quit football at 26 for a reason. A couple of years after a white boy made you fumble away a Super Bowl. Frank says, I'm better than your GOAT. The best running back in the NFL right now is white, and Christian McCaffrey has had an infinitely better career than you. Jimmy D says, I'm sick of racists like you. This world will never grow and be truly colorblind with shallow and pathetic comments like yours. Jimmy D, well said. After getting destroyed in the comments, Mendenhall tried playing the victim and doubled down on his insanely racist post. Mendenhall says, simply tired of being berated by people who aren't experts in D-game. Come on, man. We just pretend. Okay. I mean, we got talking shorthand. It's Twitter. It's X. You only have so many characters. Finish the words, please. Simply tired of being berated by people who aren't experts in D-game. We just pretend like I'm the only athlete tired of fans talking trash. You upset over a single tweet. What about us? Like me or not, I'm great in football. This proves my point. You can't speak on ball alone. I don't think you can speak all alone. It's safe to say Mendenhall lacks any self-awareness and is completely blinded by his narcissism. Just imagine if a former white player had made a remotely similar comment. Yeah, that is the number one thing when anything is called racist. Replace the race with a different one and see if it sounds cringy. Replace the word whites with the Jews. Replace whites with the blacks. The whites, the blacks, the Asians. It kind of takes on a really gross tone. By the way, speaking of gross tone, I think we have Bountygate 2.0 rather. And this will be my last topic of the day. Bountygate 2.0. You have the Steelers coach, Mike Tomlin. He now had a player suspended for a really dirty hit on Michael Pittman Jr. of the Indianapolis Colts, flying across the field trying to make a catch and just headhunting to blow up the neck and the helmet and the neck of this defenseless player. The NFL's put rules in place so that you can't attack defenseless players because you want to see the best athletes in the world for as long a career as possible. You look back a couple of games into the season, a very promising season for the Cleveland Browns, playing these dirty Pittsburgh Steelers. Nick Chubb, the best running back in the league. They said Christian McCaffrey. It's Nick Chubb, but, McCaffrey's great, but Nick Chubb is equally great. Chubb was being held by his knee, and he was being tackled. He was in a crowd. And the Steelers player came diving in, head down, not even looking at the play, right into the knee, took his helmet into the kneecap and bent it the opposite direction. I think he tore broke the kneecap and tore 2 or 3 tendons, ligaments in there. Completely destroyed his knee in a dirty ass play that he should. My claim is this: any game lost due to the action of a dirty play should result in that player being suspended for as long as it takes for the injured player to return. I could probably clean that up and tighten up the verbiage a little bit. But a dirty play should result in a player being suspended for as long as the injured player takes to return to the field of play. Something like that. The offending player on the Steelers was suspended indefinitely for the rest of this season. It's not enough. I'm calling on the NFL to forfeit the first-round draft pick to the best player injured, which is the Browns and Nick Chubb. And the Steelers should forfeit their second-round pick to the Colts for their injured player, who was the second best player injured in this lot. If you don't start keeping the coaches and the teams and the front offices accountable, you're going to see more of this stuff. The Steelers have been the dirtiest team in football for as long as I can remember. Yes, you've had the Raiders, you've had the Ravens, even the Cowboys. You've had a few teams that had developed a reputation for being dirty. But nobody is as dirty as the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so I am sincerely calling on Bounty Gate 2 to happen. Mike Tomlin needs to leave his job because he's coaching them to act this way. That's why they're doing what they're doing. So Rashard Mendenhall, a Pittsburgh Steeler, completely classless, clown, racist. Can't stand that organization, those players, those coaches, that front office. The only good thing they ever did was their ownership group was the only one to come out and say that it was wrong when the Cleveland Browns were stolen and taken to Baltimore in 1995. The only franchise, because, we were rivals and they appreciated the rivalry. Art Rooney, I believe, was the one. Dan Rooney? Art Rooney? Art Rooney. Rooney. I think it was Rooney. I'll respect him for that, but nothing else. Bunch of dirty bums. So anyway, that was the other story I wanted to get to. I wish we could spend time on stuff like this. It's just, I just, when Blake starts, well, tell me, what percentage is Israel wrong? It's like, what kind of question even is that? It's so frustrating. What do I want? I want peace. And they refuse to have it with their 3 no's. They won't acknowledge them. They won't negotiate with them. They won't stop declaring war on them. Like, you can't work with someone like that. The quote I heard from some unnamed person on the radio regarding the constant terrorism and the constant attacks on Israel are, never waste a good opportunity to waste a good opportunity. All of the opportunities they had have been squandered. And it's like, oh, but it's their fault. I don't know. I hate all of it. And I don't want to fund a war there any more than I want to fund one in Ukraine. Let that be said. But on the flip side, like Blake keeps saying, well, he didn't provide proof, so that definitely didn't happen. Okay, maybe it didn't happen. Perhaps it didn't happen. It probably didn't happen. I don't know, but we'll give you that. But that's not a 100% proof. Maybe you wouldn't want to show butchered babies in a photo. Maybe it didn't happen. But then you're not going to believe what happened during the attack? It's just a hamster wheel. It just spins and nothing gets solved. Forgive me. If this is the most important issue to everybody out there, I'm sure there are shows that will do this every day. I'm just so beyond tired of it. I don't know how we proceed with these damn stories. I don't know how we keep. I don't know. But I'm really getting tired of having the same chat. So anyway, that being said, this is the Agree to Disagree show. Blake and I disagree. I'm not calling for a complete annihilation of one of those parties. Both of those parties are. They've agreed to Rochambeau, to the death, to the pain. An ultimate battle. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. They want that. And Blake seems to be taking the side of the people that just started this war. I kind of can't understand how you could do that. Guess we're going to agree to disagree on that one. But that's the name of the show, and we keep covering the news because indifference to public affairs is you giving a sanction to being ruled by inferior men, and I don't think that that's a winning strategy. I think we should be keenly aware of what's going on in this world, and we should spread the word. We should spread the doubt, spread the truth, spread the facts, spread the peace, spread the love, spread the humor. I love spreading humor. Humor's my jam. I like that. I wish we could do more fun stories. And there may be a way in between these regular Tuesday, Thursday, Agree to Disagree shows where I might be able to do a different kind of show. I've been thinking about that. I've definitely been thinking about bringing some guests back and changing a few things up, but we'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Yeah, Dreamer says, is Blake going on with Mike tonight? I believe Blake is Tuesday night. What is it? Toxically Masculine Tuesday? Yeah, Rick's saying that Stefanski has to be coach of the year. Yeah, look, Stefanski's bad play calling might have cost the Cleveland Browns at least 1 or 2, maybe 3 wins. I think running Baker Mayfield out of town was a punk move by Stefanski. I think Stefanski not benching Baker Mayfield after his torn shoulder, basically playing with one arm back there. I think that he really should have sat him down and said, sorry, kid, you gave it everything you have. I appreciate your guts, but you're just not the same player. We're not going to play you. He should have protected him from himself and benched him instead of letting Baker get another opinion saying, I can play through it. And he played through it, but he sucked. And then the narrative is like, oh, Baker sucks. It's like, I just shared something today. Baker has a higher quarterback rating than Jalen Hurts, a higher quarterback rating on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a higher quarterback rating than Josh Allen. He has a higher quarterback rating than Patrick Mahomes. Baker's fine. You could win a Super Bowl with Baker. We did not need to sell the farm, trade 3 first-round draft picks, all sorts of other draft picks away, just to get a guy who was in the middle of a touchy-feely, uncomfortable accusation thing that may or may not have been a story, and maybe it was kind of a story, and maybe a bunch of people jumped on to get some money. Who knows? But you get that guy at a discount. He sat out for a year for his previous team. Look, he's played 1 good game against the Tennessee Titans this year. He played 1 great half against the Baltimore Ravens, the number 1 team in the AFC, on the road for us, Deshaun Watson, and then he broke his shoulder, okay? That being said, look at what Joe Flacco's doing. We could be getting that type of quarterback play from Baker Mayfield, except we could have had 3 extra first-round draft picks to shore up that offensive line, to shore up our wide receivers, our middle linebackers. Like, we have areas on this team that could have benefited from all that draft capital. So I blame Stefanski for some of that. But there is no doubt having, 30% of our team on the injured reserve at this point. I said this in a show yesterday. I do the Unhappy Hour sports show. Rick, I hope you follow the Unhappy Hour. What up, Joy Root? I said that our injured players on the Browns could probably beat this team. Put some role players in between our injured players. I mean, you'd have Deshaun Watson. You'd have Nick Chubb. You'd have our whole offensive line. Jack Conklin, Joel Bitonio, DeJuan Jones. I'm drawing a blank on a couple. Jed Wills. Our whole offensive line is injured. Our running back, our quarterback, our whole offense. We need to get some receivers off the street, but that team could probably beat our current team. That's how good and how deep the team is. So yes, I give Stefanski tons of credit. Him coming through in the clutch has been massive. And Joe Flacco's playing out of his mind. Yes, he's too many interceptions. But my God, that pass that he completed to Amari Cooper, the window of those 3 players converging and the ball getting right there to go tiptoe down the sideline for a touchdown, the game-tying touchdown at that point. I mean, that's the best pass that the Browns have had other than Baker Mayfield's game winner to Donovan Peoples-Jones against Cincinnati, coming from behind on the road with no timeouts in Cincy. The 2 best throws the Browns have had at quarterback since 1999, since 96 when the team was stolen. So, yeah, Baker's good. You like Baker. I like Baker. All good points. Browns lost 2 offensive line. No. We Jed Wills, Jack Conklin, DeJuan Jones. Those are 3 of our 4 tackles, or 3 of our 2 tackles. And Joel Bitonio. I mean, center Posick has been injured. Yeah, Wyatt Teller's the only one, knock on wood. But yeah, we lost Chubb. We're on our 4th quarterback. Kudos to Stefanski. Yeah, Rick Norman, you got to follow my show. It's called the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Go on YouTube, search the Unhappy Hour Sports Show and subscribe. It's a standalone channel. Also, I do put that content, I double it up and put it here on youtube.com/The New American Media. On Spotify, we have a podcast. It's the Agree to Disagree Show. Where are you from? Ohio. Joy. From Ohio. Born and raised. Went to the West Coast, and now I'm not in Ohio now, but I'm close. Yeah, on X, we are at the Unhappy Hour _. And the New American Media, we are at American_media_. Follow us in all those places. Instagram, follow us on Instagram. The Unhappy Hour or the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, I forget which one. And then the New American Media on Instagram. So these are things that we do on both sides. And on Rumble, the New American Media. Follow us on Rumble too. Yeah, Browns are an awesome story. The resiliency, the tenacity, the toughness, it's just unparalleled. Super big fan. I would love to win out. If we win 3 and Baltimore loses 2, I think that gets us the number 1 seed. Got to check. We got 3 games left. Anything could happen. But look, we got a really tough game on the road against Tennessee, against the Houston Texans. Did you see Houston playing the Tennessee this weekend? Tennessee had their throwback jerseys, and it was the Houston Oilers. So it was Houston versus Houston. It hurt my head to look at it on the screen. But I think C.J. Stroud might be back. And Houston, the Texans, they are vying for a playoff spot. And C.J. Stroud's a gamer. Don't put anything past him. So it'll be a tough game this week. But we just got to show up. Our defense is leading the way, and we got the best punter in Corey Bojorquez. He bombed one 80 yards from his own end zone, from the goal line. Bombed it 80 yards, and our kicker he set a Browns record. Dustin Hopkins set a record for most field goals in a season and most 50-yard or more field goals in a season. So we got the best special teams in the league, the best defense in the league with the best defensive player on it, Myles Garrett. And we got Joe Flacco, who can put up points. Amari Cooper, who can make catches. David Njoku, who's coming into his own. Cedric Tillman. Yeah, see, like my passion for these stories are more. But the problem is we don't win every game. And when we can't get the win, I don't have a lot of wind in my sails to do content, do it with a smile and do it with vigor. The news usually always sucks. I just kind of power through because I think it's important to call out trouble. Little Paul Revere's running around. Danger. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, 3 if by internet, 4 if by Congress, 5 if by fiat, 6 if by globalist, 7 if by cabal, 7 if by Federal Reserve, 8 if by aliens, 9 if by bad salmon. So, but yeah, I do enjoy sports. I love talking sports, and maybe that's more my calling than politics. I mean, Blake and I, for 30 minutes, we're just sitting there swearing at each other, getting so worked up over this. I don't want war. It's like, that's why they shouldn't have started one. Yeah, well, they were being heavy-handed. You just butchered them in the streets at a concert. Of course you're going to get demolished, absolutely decimated because of that. It's like, do I want to argue with him over that? It's like, I'm not rooting for more death. I want peace, but they refuse. They will not put someone in that government who's going to be cool to their neighbor. Find a way to just like get along and make the best of a bad situation. It's like they never waste a good opportunity to waste a good opportunity. So yeah, I don't see eye to eye with him. But that's the point of the Agree to Disagree show. For Blake just constantly harping on me for never disagreeing with Israel. It's like I don't have skin in the game. I'm not Israeli. I'm not Palestinian. I don't care on a personal level. I care on a level. I'm observing it, and I kind of call it as I see it. But like on Agree to Disagree, we're supposed to be able to have uncomfortable conversations. And it's not that I'm only putting one side on the show. I give Blake his 5 minutes hate. Is it 5 minutes or 3 minutes hate? I think it might be 3 minutes hate. 2 minutes hate. I always screw it up. It's the political purpose of the 2 minutes hate. That's where they allows the citizens of Oceania to vent their existential anguish and personal hatred toward the other. That's in George Orwell's 1984. But interestingly enough, they vent their anger at a film depicting Emmanuel Goldstein, who's the principal enemy of the state, and his followers. The Brotherhood, and they loudly voice their hatred for the enemy and then their love for Big Brother. Interesting that it's Goldstein who has the 2 minutes hate. But look, even though I get annoyed by Blake's questions, can you tell me, is it 3%? Will you tell me it's 1%? Israel at fault? Yes, Blake, every government has been at fault at some point to some percentage. Well, will you say it's 10%? Blake, I'm not in kindergarten. Don't talk to me like that. Not to recap this all again. I mean, we were all just there, but like, that's a bullshit question. How do you come up with it is like 21%. It's really like 62, 66. How about 66.6? Because they're really the devil. Okay. How about it's an unanswerable question. And when you're given the olive branch, when you're granted what you're asking for, yes, every country has done things that are deplorable. Yep, I haven't seen a single perfect country. And that's not good enough. Then what are we doing? We're just in the weeds bickering over bullshit. It's not productive. It's not moving the needle. And he has a chance on this program to put out the stories that he wants. They're always pro-Palestine. They're always negative Israel. Every time, 100% of his stories. I don't know. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it was 98% and I'm being unfair to him. But 99% of what he puts out, it's a broken record. It's the same thing, just told a different way. But I'm seeking truth. I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. And to do that, am I just going to talk into an echo chamber nonstop? That's not going to be helpful to me. I will listen to his perspective. I will listen to his point of view. I will read your comments. Rick Norman, Joy Root, Deb from SAC, Dreamer Ultra, all of you peeps. I have fun interacting, and I want to kind of test the water and take a pulse on what you're thinking. I like your instant feedback on the stories. Dreamer's adding here that the Browns are very surprising. Yes, they are. Not to me. Not to me. I've had us pegged as a Super Bowl Baker Mayfield. They've had to retool a couple of times and do a couple things, but the surprising part is how well we've been able to battle through these injuries. I'll grant you that. But the amount of talent on this team. But here's the thing about Stefanski, by the way, Rick Norman. Kevin Stefanski's inability to fire Joe Woods 2 years ago cost us 2 years. We would have been in the playoffs 2 years in a row. This would have been the third. Actually, the fourth, because Baker, 2 years without him, and this year. That would have been 4 years in a row in the playoffs. But Joe Woods, the fact that he wasn't fired by Kevin Stefanski, that cost us 2 championship runs, 2 playoff berths at least. Because you got rid of Joe Woods. Look what Jim Schwartz has done. Jim Schwartz has turned that team around, and they are buying in. Next man up mentality. They really are next man up. The number of injuries is staggering. These are starters. And it's just like, all right, who else we got? Go. All right, we're down somebody. Let's go sign someone. Next, we'll get you up to speed, and we're going. Like, we're going to get that Super Bowl. Let's go. I got to be careful when I point, because if my fingers aren't separated enough, that could be turned into a meme of something. I was pointing. You silly internet gooses. Dreamer Ultra says, I'm guessing Rashard Mendenhall has had a rough go since that fumble Ruski. Oh, yeah, the Bill Buckner effect. The Scott Norwood wide right. Laces out from Ace Ventura. Chris Webber's timeout. I mean, geez, look at this. Just off the Trevor Bauer slicing through his finger on the mound. He's bleeding like a stuck pig. It's hard to criticize loyalty, says Rick Norman. Well, I criticize Kevin Stefanski's lack of loyalty to Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield came in, and remember, that team won 0 games. Then we got Baker Mayfield. Came in. We won 7 games. By the way, first he opened the Bud Light fridge back before that was a toxic brand. The Bud Light fridge was for winless teams. If you're on a winless streak, you get the fridge, and it's sealed. But then all across the city, the seal is open, and you have free beers, or I think they're free beers, unlocked for the city. Your win unlocked it for the city. And it was against the Jets, I believe. Was that the one that opened it? We did that like a Philly special where Baker tossed it to someone, then he ran out and caught the touchdown pass on the 2-point conversion. Baker Mayfield was turning into a legend. You know, he was at the Cleveland Indians playoff runs, shotgun and beers. I mean, he was embodying everything Cleveland. Yeah, he was a little good. And his commercials for Progressive were hilarious. But then it was like, oh, he's not studying. Oh, he's not taking it seriously. Oh, he shaved his mustache. Now he shaved his mustache again. He did another commercial. He needs to spend less time doing commercial. But when he was healthy, after his rookie year, started off weird with Odell Beckham because they couldn't get on the same page. He was trying to force it to him. Baker's one of these Joe Flacco guys. He sees the open guy and gets it to him. I'll say 2 of those interceptions from Flacco might have been like kind of accidental, flaxidental. But yeah, Baker knows where everybody's supposed to be. He damn near made Rashard Higgins a superstar, Hollywood Higgins. You know, some no-name player. Like, he just knows where to go, and he's got a higher passer rating than Mahomes and Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. Like, he's a good player. So Baker took us once Odell went down, when he this whole like feed me the ball and he wasn't playing like himself. He went on a stretch that was unbelievable and took us to the playoffs. We beat Schittsburg 2 games in a row on the road to get into the playoffs, and then in the playoffs. You know? Then the next year he injures his throwing shoulder, or his other shoulder in the second game. And he tried like hell. He played all season, but really Stefanski should have had some loyalty and said, look, I appreciate your guts, man. You'll take any pain pill, any shot, any injection. You're going to be out here, but like, you can't make the same plays. You can't roll out. You can't take a hit. Kid, we got to sit you down. We're going with Jacoby Brissett or Case Keenum. We would have made the playoffs if we would have benched him and started Keenum. But he didn't, and he let him play. And then it turned into Baker's no good. He doesn't deserve a contract. Look, he sucks. It's like he never sucked. Yeah, I mean, he had terrible games, and he was injured. And, you know, he got dragged for, I don't know what, for the Packers game. He was playing video games the night before. It's like, yeah, you study and you relax. Like, it's a blend. I mean, the guy it's the same guy that went in on 2 days' notice with the playbook and went 99 yards with no timeouts to beat, who was it? The Raiders, to get that win for the Rams on Thursday Night Football. He's a smart quarterback. He's a good quarterback. We could have won with him. So I wish Stefanski could have shown some loyalty for Baker after Baker gave everything he had showing loyalty to Cleveland. So I think that loyalty thing kind of goes, it's a two-way street. But anyway, okay, I'm going to wrap it up for now. But yeah, please follow the Unhappy Hour Sports Show in all of the places. And go on Facebook, the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, a support group. We're active there all day, every day. And we'll be back on Thursday. I believe Blake is doing Toxically Masculine Tuesday tonight with Mike Barra and is it Brooks Sagnew? I think that's the guy's name. I don't know him personally. But yeah, check him out tonight for that. And for all of you out there, I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Peace.